This is the official preseason television partner of the San Francisco 49ers, KPIX 5. For 43 seasons, Candlestick Park stood as the epicenter of 49ers football.
Joe Montana and Steve Young, I'm happy I had the opportunity to play on the same field.
Today, a new chapter of 49ers football kicks off as Levi Stadium becomes the foundation for a championship franchise, eager to add to their trophy case.
Quest for 6, man, so I'm going to do anything and everything I can do to help this team get a ring.
Montana throwing in the end zone.
49ers football, right now on the KPIX 5 Sports Network.
Levi Stadium, a day that felt unreachable, that seemed nearly impossible after 2 decades of work, is real. The dream has been realized. A gleaming new home for one of professional football's great franchises. And today, the San Francisco 49ers christen the stadium in preseason week 2 against the Denver Broncos. And we welcome along the 49ers preseason network. Tim Ryan, Ted Robinson, Dennis O'Donnell will join us. The roar we just heard, Tim, when the 49ers were announced was something special.
Well, there's no doubt it's a preseason game, but it's got a real season, regular season feel to it. What an honor, what a privilege, Ted, to cover this first game here. Now, I've covered hundreds of games in this league and always anticipating watching the players play. Today, I'm anticipating watching the fans play. This is going to be fun.
We're going to get the best of both for you today. We're going to see Peyton Manning play. We'll see the 49ers first team play. We'll also have an awful lot of time to go around and show you as much as we can of Levi Stadium. All of that comes up over the next 3 hours as Levi Stadium is christened, and no better opponent to be here than the Denver Broncos, the defending AFC champions, and Peyton Manning. Now, let's take you down to the field.
Welcome, former Miss Santa Clara, Melissa Bowling.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Melissa Bowling to perform the first national anthem at Levi Stadium. I'm envious of Dennis O'Donnell today because Dennis is not just going to be on the sideline, he is going to be exploring all over this beautiful new home of the 49ers. Dennis?
You got it, Ted, and I heard what Tim said about this having the feel of a regular season game. I'm going to take that one step further. On the field, at least, it feels like a playoff game. Considering that the 49ers and what they've meant to the NFL, 5 Super Bowl titles, the well-earned Team of the Decade moniker during the 80s, this stadium has been a long time in coming, but it's been well worth it. Let me show you some facts. $1.2 billion in change is what it costs. Capacity 68,500. That's expandable for the Super Bowl. 165 club suites, 8,500 club suites, and a whole lot more bathrooms than Candlestick. Levi Stadium and KPIX will be the host of Super Bowl 50. The question is, I think, will there be a 12th man factor? Well, at least those who worked on the stadium believe that there will be. Levi Stadium features a cluster of speakers on the south end of the stadium. designed to project sound to the north toward the open spaces on that side of the stadium and away from the houses to the south. Stadium project manager Jack Hill also figures that the tower here on the west side will project sound and bounce it off back towards the field. But Hill admitted that we really aren't going to know what 12th man advantage there is until we play football. That time is right now. Ted?
Well, Dennis, Tim, and I can tell you, when the 49ers ran on the field, the sound was nearly deafening to us here. The initial roar. Game Time Weather is brought to you by the California Academy of Sciences, and a spectacular day in the South Bay.
And the noise is always great. It's a great atmosphere here in the stadium. It's always a better atmosphere when you're watching at home when the stadium's cranked up. But most importantly, what an advantage it is, the home field advantage for your defensive football team. That's what I'm looking most forward to.
Jim Harbaugh have arranged it today. The 49ers dressed in their new locker room here in the stadium together for the first time.
And that had to be special. You better believe that. And I love the fact that Jim and the organization have scheduled this preseason game as a 1 p.m. start on a Sunday. I think that is huge. I mean, we've both done a lot of preseason games, not a lot of 1 p.m. starts. This is the real trial run. Simulate the real stuff.
Well, there's another very accomplished coach. John Fox, since coming to Denver, has had an amazing level of success, including the Super Bowl, the AFC Championship last year, and a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
And they improved on defense for sure via free agency. Some of the keys in the football game today. I think things I'll be looking for. Offensive and defensive line play, not good enough at Baltimore. Big challenge today against the Denver Broncos. The backup quarterbacks, everybody wants to know who's going to back up. Colin Kaepernick, Blaine Gabbert, not good in the first preseason game. Josh Johnson, a little better. We'll be watching those guys today. And then for the coaches, the players, for everybody, figure this stadium out. Talked about the 1 p.m. start, the real simulation of what it's going to be like during the regular season. You've got to take into consideration the sun, the wind, all the things that are going to encompass playing in this new stadium for the kickers, for the receivers, for the return guys, the quarterbacks. It's all going to be a work in progress trying to figure it out.
And Timmy, I think that's a great point as we see the 49ers special teams huddling here. You know, we always think about the kickers. The kickers need to understand wind and how the ball carries, etc. But we saw at Candlestick how if you didn't know Candlestick, there was that one corner of the end zone to our left as we looked at it from the broadcast booth where the sun glared late in the day. And if you're a receiver looking back into that, how many times do we see a visiting receiver lose the ball?
Absolutely. And for the coaches, too. I mean, you think about the decisions, if and when to kick it, where to kick it. Weather certainly plays into that factor.
All right, 49ers to receive the opening kick, and here's the rookie number 3, Bruce Ellington, draft pick out of South Carolina, who is continuing during this preseason to build on very impressive camps, and one opportunity he continues to get and will get during this preseason is this, returning kicks and punts.
This is the easy part for him, the return stuff. I've been so impressed with him as a receiver, in particular his mentality. I mean, his rapid development as a rookie is uncommon. He's not thinking, he's just playing, and it shows up.
Ewald does the kicking here for the Broncos. This is going to be a short kick, and Bruce Miller, the up back, will field it. And Bruce Miller, look at this. And Bruce Miller's trying to insert himself into the kick return conversation. How many times did defensive end get to do that?
Don't call him a defensive end. He's a fullback, and he'd like to be called a running back. Well, they missed him at the end of last season, right? Wow.
You know, that really jumped out to me, Tim, in the game of Baltimore, is how much we saw him as we see Colin Kaepernick and his numbers from last season. That low interception number. I think if there's a theme we continue during this game today, it's that very point. How cautious and how strong the 49ers have been in protecting the ball. Frank Gore on the field to start. The quick slant is not held by Crabtree. Let's look at our Levi's starting lineups. And as we suspected, the 49ers running most of the first team out there. You'll see, in fact, Vance McDonald runs out for this huddle. That's nice since he didn't practice much during the week. Jonathan Martin continues to get the start in Anthony Davis's right tackle spot.
Yeah, and keep an eye on that right side, Joe Looney and Jonathan Martin. They'll have their hands full now against that Denver front.
Quick hit to Frank Gore. And there's Frank Gore. You don't see many carries by Frank in the preseason, but he chops 9 up on this one.
And that's a bread and butter play. That is just the G lead with Mike Iupati, left guard, leading up inside. Quick trap. He's able to kick out the defensive lineman, and there's not a better inside runner in the game than Frank Gore. I mean, look at that little crack Frank is able to slip through. That's a good call at the line of scrimmage from Colin Kaepernick. Soft box by the Denver Broncos. You got him outnumbered. Run right at him. Picked up 9 yards.
So now Bruce Miller is in the lead block for Gore, and Frank goes left. And the 49ers get the first down. This time running behind Staley and Iupati. But again, Tim, this point, watching Bruce Miller lead, stick up one of those linebackers, that was so missed in the playoffs last year.
Absolutely, and really missed down towards the end of the season when you looked at Frank's numbers. That's the same exact play they ran the other way. They just had Joe Looney pulling around on that inside power.
49ers have 2 tight ends in and 2 wide receivers. They go outside, and Anquan Bolden, who seemingly has caught everything since camp started.
Give him a cushion like that, it's like stealing for Anquan Bolden and Colin Kaepernick.
All right, Levi's starting lineup, the Denver defense, and there are very familiar names. DeMarcus Ware, the longtime Cowboy, brought in as a free agent by John Elway. They did lose a starting linebacker last week to injury, Danny Trevathan. Brandon Marshall starts in that spot. Look at Aqib Talib and T.J. Ward.
And no Von Miller out there either.
Right, no Von Miller out there, and of course Champ Bailey was not brought back to Denver. That's one of the familiar standout names that isn't there. Talib, who surfaced last year, played 1 year in New England.
Yeah, he's kind of been a rental for some teams that are looking to get over the top. This is what I love about Carlos Hyde. There is nothing up inside. Denver did a good job of pushing the 49ers front backwards. Nothing for Carlos Hyde where that play was designed to go. We saw it against Baltimore for the rookie. He's got vision and patience, and he'll sift his way through there and pick up some positive yards when really there was nothing there.
So 2 yards on that first down run. Brandon Lloyd in this pattern. Kaepernick was looking his way, but comes underneath to Bruce Miller. So Brandon Lloyd, who did not play in the Baltimore game, out there. And that was looked to be the first look by Kaepernick.
Well, he was definitely the primary receiver. Good job by Colin Kaepernick, really, as he saw the linebacker flash into his throwing lane. He wants to throw it right there. Nope, he sees the backer come in. And I love the fact he knows right where his check down is. He didn't even have to think about it. He knew Bruce would be sitting out there as his safety valve and able to pick up some positive yards. I'm excited for Brandon Lloyd. This guy was in Denver 2010, led the NFL in receiving yards and big plays,
really
at 20 plus.
Where his career was resuscitated, wasn't it, Denver?
Absolutely.
An original 49er draft pick back in what we now refer to as the Dark Ages. Timeout taken by the 49ers here with the play clock was just about to run out, so the sideline prevented a flag by taking the timeout, as the 49ers will get a chance now to gather a third down play.
Tonight's coverage of 49ers preseason football is brought to you by LG G3, now available at T-Mobile. Mattress discounters. Have a good night's sleep for less. And Bud Light, reminding fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
Well, if you are a fan of San Francisco sports and Bay Area sports, this is the first thing you notice when you come into Levi's. I was blown away back in the spring when I walked the concourses for the first time after you get used to Candlestick or even the ballpark, where it's very narrow and you squeeze. Here, incredible space.
A lot of room. You feel like you're at the Four Seasons Hotel, right? I mean, it is top shelf for sure. You're not going to miss a play either. I think if you're here at the stadium, got to go use the restroom, go get food, got to do something. I don't know how many. I'll say 1 million. There is 1 million monitors indoors around this stadium.
Well, one thing the 49ers do not want to be in regular season form on is what we just saw. Play clock running down, having to take a timeout.
Yeah, that's got to get better, and that's something they really worked on, Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, along with Colin Kaepernick this offseason.
So now third down, out of the timeout, and going for the big ball, and that one is just through the fingertips of Lloyd. So they took a shot, and that's something I think 49er fans in the preseason don't mind sending Brandon Lloyd down there against Aqib Talib.
Well, even if they don't hit it, teams are going to be on notice because he ran right by Aqib Talib, a Pro Bowl corner, and that ball just out of the reach of Brandon Lloyd. Boy, I wonder if the sun got him at all right there. I mean, it was definitely out in front of his hands, but it looked like he was able to locate it real well as Colin got hit there at the end.
All right, here's another thing you find out about the stadium. How this ball's going to carry for Phil Dawson. 55-yard try. Does it have enough leg? Well, it did, but it was wide. And so a field goal attempt misses, which gives Denver obviously a terrific drive start.
Imagine Brandon Lloyd now, Ted, on this football team and really trying to recapture his career. He was out of football last year, and he brings an element to this football team in terms of being able to, we all know about the acrobatic catches in between the numbers there and the sideline down the side of the field. But he brings the ability to stretch the field. And if you can do that and really take that corner with you and be a real threat and get that safety to your side off the hash and trying to get into some double coverage, watch how that opens things up underneath for the slot receiver and the tight end, Vernon Davis.
And those are Madden 2015 numbers. I mean, you just look at those and you can't fathom that a guy at his age can put up those kinds of numbers as Manning did last year.
Well, then you couple that with all the neck surgeries that he had.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And by the way, since he's been the quarterback in Denver, they're 26-6 in the regular season. Monty Ball is their new lead running back, but he's out appendectomy, so Ronnie Hillman gets a shot to play. They do have a big player back, Ryan Clady, their left tackle, missed most of last year with an injury. And with all kinds of time, and then misfires in the flat. One thing, a couple of familiar names for football fans that the Broncos are missing. Noshawn Moreno, he's gone to Miami. Eric Decker gone in free agency to the New York Jets as we see the Levi's starting lineup for the 49ers.
Now, I did not see Ray McDonald out there, who just got back into practice this week. Patrick Willis is not out there. It's Chris Borland, the third-round pick.
And in the secondary, Tremaine Brock was dressed, but he didn't practice this week either. Manning on third down. And there's the man, Manning and Welker.
Boy, and
how hard a habit was that to break, saying Brady to Welker? Now it's Manning.
Lucky Wes Welker.
Yeah.
And what a great throw as Peyton Manning just slides it right in between Jimmy Ward and the linebacker who's coming up over the top. Excuse me, it's Eric Reed, the safety. That's a great throw. I'm looking forward to that matchup all day. The rookie against one of the best ever. You got Jimmy Ward out there in the slot against Wes Welker.
So Manning on first down, and this is Ronnie Hillman. Again, Noshawn Moreno, the Broncos didn't bring him back, so they're hoping Monty Ball in his second year becomes their lead back. Ronnie Hillman is a guy that kind of played in some anonymity. He was a good back at San Diego State. Ryan Lindley was the quarterback there, and Lindley threw the ball a ton. Hillman got a little overlooked.
Well, you said it. He threw the ball a ton. That's what Ronnie Hillman's known for. Not for that right there, his ability to run the football, to really, though, be a major threat as a running back out of the backfield acting as a receiver.
That's veteran Jacob Tamme, the former Colt tight end. That was the motion man, Demaryius Thomas, and there's a nice play. Parrish Cox, who a veteran, remember he left for a while last year, came back, played a key role in the playoffs. It seems like he's had a very good camp here.
Started his career with Denver. He has had a terrific camp, and it doesn't look great, but this is a really good tackle on Demaryius Thomas. Demaryius Thomas, you look how big that dude is, and he can run. He led the NFL last year in yards after the catch, his ability to run after the catch. Good job there by Parrish Cox forcing a third down.
49ers trying to get players in the right. Antoine Bethay's moving linebackers into a different spot. Peyton Manning sees that. He'll adjust.
I'll be surprised. They look confused on defense if Peyton doesn't find an easy opening here. There it is.
There it is. This could be for the whole thing. Let's see. 49ers corral Thomas near the 10. But Tim, talk about that, because that was a new player to the 49ers. But Antoine Bethea saw the confusion immediately, and he ran around and tried to fix it.
Well, and who knows Peyton Manning better than Antoine Bethea coming over from Indianapolis. I mean, the defense really did not know exactly what the coverage principles were. Peyton saw that. He dialed up a crossing route right over the middle of the field, and you see Demaryius Thomas, nobody even close to him. Can't be confused against the Sheriff, Peyton Manning. He's going to make you pay.
So it is just shy. You can see it's at the 11-yard line. So it is not a goal to go. Manning goes empty. Finds Thomas one more time. There's another open field tackle. That is Antoine Bethea, the veteran that the 49ers signed to replace Dante Whitner, and as a result become what we saw him on the previous play, be the quarterback of the secondary.
The thing I like about Bethea is he's known for his run defense, and we've seen him make some nice tackles. He is a very good cover man from the safety position. Upgrade over Dante Whitner, in my opinion.
Look at this red zone alignment. Again, empty backfield. So
better get some rush.
That Broncos spread the field, and Peyton Manning, wherever John Elway's sitting right now, he's screaming, "Get down!" That's the preseason. Especially if you got Aldon Smith bearing down on you.
If you're going to sit back in zone coverage, you better be able to get some heat. It's actually looked like DeMarcus Dobbs was able to get some push up inside there. And then Aldon Smith keeping his eyes open, looking past the offensive lineman with his eyes on his target, the quarterback, able to fall inside and get Peyton down and make him try to convert here on third down.
Yeah, look at this, 3 straight plays here. Empty backfield. Manning trying to spread the defense out in the red zone. The crowd roaring. Manning throws the out, and it's just off the fingertips of Andre Caldwell.
Chris Culliver really in man coverage out there on Bubba Caldwell, Andre Caldwell, and he did have some separation, was open. Peyton just led him too far out in front.
There's Manning's reaction. But I'm intrigued by that, just the setup there. Red zone play, didn't have a running back on the field. 5 guys spread wide.
Yep. And they don't have a fullback on the roster.
Yeah.
Peyton will throw it about 43, 44 times a game this year.
And so there's a very strong-legged veteran kicker, Matt Prater, and he kicks through a 26-yard field goal that gives Denver the points. Denver, of course, got the good drive start, and they took advantage. Levi Stadium is about the 49ers. It's about Super Bowl 50 coming, but it has also already become the premier entertainment venue, sports venue in Northern California. Hear about this. The first outdoor hockey game in Northern California is coming here. Feb 21, Sharks Kings. Tickets not going to go on sale until late September, but call 415-GO49ers. You can learn about a pre-sale that's going on right now.
Where are they going to get the water to make the ice?
They've done an amazing. I give hockey credit. They played a game at Dodger Stadium last season. They've done a great job of being able to figure out how to
make water
and how to keep it frozen. And believe it or not, the bigger challenge is rain.
Right.
And I hope we have that problem here this winter. We all do. But it's great. The stadium, between WrestleManias and motocrosses, college football games, and
all that's great. It's all about the Wi-Fi, bro.
There you go.
And it's strong in here.
It is working. Ewald kicking this off. Bruce Ellington will get his chance to run this back. This time Ellington got it out just across the 20. And the 49ers will get their second drive with Kaepernick at the helm going.
Player, you got to be great on special teams. Watch Dan Scooter. He's about the 16-yard line, left hash as you look at it. Watch the outside linebacker just grab this receiver, the rookie Cody Latimer, and say, you know what? I'm going to lock onto you. I'm going to drive you, and now I'm going to finish you and plant you on your back. You need 6, 7 core special teams players that are backups that are going to play great, and that's certainly a role that Dan Scooter has played since he's been in pro football for 5 years.
That's a great call, Tim, because it has been essential to the 49ers' success, has been their special teams the last 3 years. Carlos Hyde gets this carry. And we should say, since we last saw you in Baltimore, a guy that had been a part of this and was hopeful again won't. That's Blake Costanzo. The 49ers had brought him back. He's now an injured reserve, and that's one potential special teams guy out. And
pressure goes to the young guys. I mean, you think of the Dante Johnsons, guys that are probably going to make this team, backup corners. Nick Moody, who's got a great chance of making it as a backup linebacker. Those guys got to step forward and really become those key special teams guys.
Now here are the 49ers now
spread.
showing. Yeah. Show an empty backfield. Hyde is at the bottom of your picture. Carlos Hyde split way wide. That's who. No, Kaepernick comes underneath for Lloyd.
Here's the beauty.
Lloyd makes the catch right near the stick.
Here's the beauty of that set for Colin Kaepernick with those weapons. Number one, they're a major challenge for everybody when you look at the receivers. But nobody wants to man this. Nobody wants to man the spread system because of Colin Kaepernick and his running ability. So you sit back in zone. It's an easy indicator for Colin. He knows right away, and he's just going to take the easy throw underneath to Brandon Lloyd. You do not want to play man coverage versus spread against great running quarterbacks, and Cap is that. Why? You turn your back, you're running down the field with the receivers. He sees an opening, and he will smash you with fat yards with his legs.
Brandon Lloyd, veteran play, just got enough for a first down. Now Kaepernick, and there's another. If you're looking for small measures, Tim, talk about that. That was another time where Kaepernick looked down the field, looked like two different places, then comes to Carlos Hyde.
How many times, I've heard it quite a bit, that Colin Kaepernick in practice is not getting through his read progressions. First, second, and maybe third read. Here, it's obvious. He's done it a couple of times this game. He wants to drive it down the field, look deep to strike quick if it's not there. Know right where your safety outlet is and throw a good, accurate pass with touch. 4 or 6. I'd like to see him throw 15 times in this early part of this game.
Yeah, he may get that shot here. Hyde gets a carry, a couple of yards on the run, but enough for a first down. And Tim, I think we both had this suspicion after the way the Baltimore game went. Of course, this being a special day at Levi Stadium, I had a feeling the 49ers might throw a little more push into the first quarter of a preseason game. Looks like they're letting Cap throw it a little bit.
Absolutely. And why wouldn't you? You're going to play this team in the regular season. Don't show them all those beautiful runs. Dial up some throws, and that's really where this team's a little bit weak, I would think, Denver.
Oh, nice hands there. That is Vance McDonald, and this is something. If you want to talk about small things that the 49ers like seeing, it's Vance McDonald making this catch.
Well, he comes off the right side, and again, he's just working in the zone. I love the fact that he felt it and was able to slide right in between the two linebackers, the soft spot of the zone. What I liked about Vance last week in the game is not only a couple of catches at Baltimore, he had some big-time seal blocks that were springing the running backs, Carlos Hyde in particular.
49ers running. This is veteran Alfonso Smith, who has come into camp because of the injuries to Kendall Hunter and Michael James. Alfonso used to play for the Cardinals. Runs here to get a first down and keep the 49er drive going.
I guess the question you have to ask yourself in consideration of the running backs is, do they keep 4 running backs on the roster? Does Trent Baalke make that decision when he's cutting his roster down to keep 4 guys? I mean, obviously the top 3 are Frank Gore, Carlos Hyde, and LaMichael James when he gets back.
2 tight ends in the game. Brandon Lloyd out wide left. Hyde got spun around. Terrence Knighton, pot roast man, spun him around. It looked like it may have been a face mask. Apparently not.
Yeah, pot roast looked like he had a fork stuck in the grill of Carlos Hyde.
Either apparently not, or he got away with it. Let's see.
There he is coming right through the hole. Terrence Knighton.
He got away with it.
He hit him with his forearm, and the hand looked like it was across the chest. But I can say this, smaller backs would have gone down with the pot roast putting that big arm on you. Carlos Hyde was able to run through it and at least get a little something.
Trouble here, but Kaepernick escapes. And then fired it up the field, hoping for Brandon Lloyd. That was Quinteris Smith, who's a backup player. He's like a Tank Carradine, Quentin Dial type for the Broncos on IR last year. They're hoping he's a big playmaker for him.
Yeah, he better readjust his angle to Colin Kaepernick. I mean, it all looked good for him, and that's a job well done. But when you got a quarterback with that kind of high octane in his legs like Colin Kaepernick does, I love the fact that Cap doesn't panic. I mean, that guy was right in his face. He's got the confidence, knows how fast he is, ran away from him, and just couldn't hook it up to Brandon Lloyd.
Stevie Johnson's on the field. Brandon Lloyd at the bottom of your picture. Johnson is in the slot left. That's the man, and that fastball goes off his hands. For the 49ers using their new wide receiver weapons there. And that's, of course, Tim, I think everybody that comes in here as a receiver, that's what you have to get used to, is that Kaepernick fastball.
Looked like Kaepernick had somebody, I think it was Malik Jackson, bearing down on him. as he unloaded that ball. I'm doing that one's on me. And there's Malik Jackson on Daniel Kilgore.
All right, so Andy Lee trying to hit the nose down the rugby punt, and it hits on the 2 and skips through. So a touchback will give Denver the ball at the 20 when we come back for another Broncos series with Peyton Manning. Jimmy Ward, first-round draft pick of the 49ers, are what to watch for. Brought to you by Foster Farms. 49ers again were picking near the end of the first, and they watched a lot of defensive backs. It shows them, but they had an eye on Jimmy Ward in the hope that he could parlay his college career at Northern Illinois into a guy that really can play against slot receivers. Why Tim mentioned the interesting matchup right away today against Welker. Marius Thomas gets that throw against Chris Culliver.
What you like about Jimmy Ward is his versatility. Can play safety, can play corner, can jump in the slot, as you said. You know, the slot defender in this league is going to get more play opportunities typically during the course of the game than one of your linebackers. It's really 60% of the snaps.
I mean, the reality is, and it's starting to get written about more by the metrics, that the base defense is now your 5 defensive backs. The 49ers, as Marius Thomas makes another catch in front of Culliver, and that is just enough for a Denver first.
And Peyton Manning, he is just so good at what he does. He knows where the first down stick is. He stacks his receivers on both sides 2 by 2, so you're going to show zone right away. And you play zone with some off coverage, as Culliver was there. That far away from the line to gain the first down sticks, too easy for Peyton Manning.
6 of 8 for Manning to start this game passing. Kaepernick is 5 of 9. Right, mix in a run, and that one works for Denver. Ronnie Hillman.
Yeah, Michael Wilhoit's got to make that play. And that's a big thing when you look at his defense. Navarro Bowman being out probably for the first half of the season. You'll see Wilhoit come in here. He just gets there too late. Is who's going to be in there? Patrick Willis isn't playing today, but who's going to be in there next to Patrick Willis? Will it be Michael Wilhoit, or will it be the rookie 3rd-round pick, Chris Borland?
Running play, and the same thing, crossing right to left, and Ronnie Hillman pushes it out for a Denver first. Borland and Wilhoit are playing side by side today, with Patrick Willis dressed but not playing. And
I think it's the best battle of training camp in terms of a true starter.
Absolutely, the most significant one, you're right.
And this will be a challenge for these young linebackers, Wilhoit and Borland, as Peyton Manning now is dialing up their no-huddle, hurry-up offense.
He's got stacks of receivers both sides this time.
That's a great job by Wilhoit.
Quick toss there. That's Jordan Norwood.
That is a great job by Michael Wilhoit getting out there and really getting in the face of Demaryius Thomas, the wide receiver, who outmatches Michael Wilhoit in terms of size. And it looked like Demaryius Thomas got shook up with his left hand on the play. So not only did Wilhoit defeat the block, but he was able to get rid of him and get in on the tackle.
All right, so first teams put the ball in the air a lot during the first quarter of football in the sparkling new home of the San Francisco 49ers. There's a brand new parking garage was built right across Tasman Street here from the stadium in Santa Clara, and that's one of the entryways. Those 2 entries on either side of the suite tower. The vast majority of fans will come into Levi Stadium through those open entrances to follow the 49ers with incredible video. In fact, if you like listening to real sound, players mic'd, coaches mic'd during practices, 49ers.com is your place to go all during the football season. Great sound from the practices the 49ers had in Baltimore when they stayed beyond the game. Second quarter starting here in Levi Stadium, and that's a former Cal Bear, C.J. Anderson. Was just cleared the other day to play in this game, had a concussion in the Broncos preseason opener.
Well, I'll promise you this, yards are a lot easier to come by in the running game today for these Denver Broncos than it will be during the regular season when Justin Smith, Ray McDonald, and Ian Williams, the starting 3, are out there.
Tony Girardetti, DeMarcus Dobbs on that defensive front right now. Aldon Smith's getting some snaps as Manning finds Anderson out of the backfield.
Aldon Smith needs snaps in terms of the pending suspension that people are thinking he's going to get from the National Football League. So you line him up and get as many as you can get here in the next couple of games.
Again, Denver going without a huddle. 49ers run Mike Purcell out there as a nose tackle. Both teams have moved the ball so far. Both teams have strung first downs together.
Got Aldon Smith out on Demaryius Thomas out on the slot. Let's see how this works out.
Then Aldon switched off that, flashed into rush, and Anderson got a carry. That's well defensed.
Yeah, really good job by Chris Borland. Okay, it's so many tackles at Wisconsin because he knows how to slip into the cracks. Here he is. You're going to see him just get in the little soft spot in the middle of the line and just grab the feet of C.J. Anderson and get him down for a minimal gain. That's one thing about Borland now. He reads the formation, he gets his keys by the formation, then he diagnoses the play and goes and gets it. Impressive.
Injured player Antoine Bethea, timeout. All right, watch off the very left edge of your screen here, Antoine Bethea.
There he is, right there. He's taken on the blocker, and as he stood up, it just looked like it was kind of a delayed reaction.
Yeah, it was Latimer.
Felt something go and went down.
That was Latimer, the receiver you highlighted earlier that got blocked by Scuda on the special teams play. Latimer's a second-round draft pick.
He's had a great camp for Denver.
Yeah. All right, so Denver back to play here on second down. And wide open is Julius Thomas. Craig Dahl taking over in the secondary for Buffet. The veteran Dahl was in on the tackle, but Thomas wide open in a big game for the Broncos.
If you get Peyton Manning that much time in the middle of the pocket, watch Purcell, watch Tony Girardetti, DeMarcus Dobbs. Nobody's getting off blocks. Purcell actually gets pushed back. That is such a clean pocket for Peyton Manning. Zones are going to break down, and he's going to throw it right on the money for a big gain. Got to get pressure on him.
Sets up a little screen to Julius Thomas. Broke the initial hit. Girardetti had a shot at him in the backfield. As a result, Thomas is able to get back close to the line.
Well, you think about Peyton, 55 touchdowns last year, 10 interceptions, and only sacked 18 times. Threw for almost 5,500 yards and only sacked 18 times. But it's not about sacks always on Peyton Manning. It's about pressure and inside pressure.
Sure.
And that's why Seattle was so successful in the Super Bowl. They got the gut pressure, the inside pressure, right up the gut on Peyton Manning.
Ronnie Hillman underneath. That'll leave him a short third down. Hey, look, the Broncos scored 606 points last year.
38 a game.
606 points.
Yeah.
So you imagine they don't change a whole lot. They fine-tune.
They got the best offensive coordinator in pro football, and he's wearing number 18. You know how many coordinators sit up in the box and go, oh, yeah, we got him. That's the look we want. We're going to, and quarterbacks miss it. Peyton never misses it in terms of finding the weakness or the soft spot. Here again, sitting in some zone coverage. You better get pressure or he's going to slice you up. Looks like they're bringing some pressure. No.
Ran that clock right down to the end and then throws it for Thomas. Julius Thomas for the Denver touchdown.
There's nobody in the middle of the field. Julius Thomas going to come from the right side of your screen. And it looked like Chris Borland bit up on the crossing route. And it looked like Craig Dahl thought he had some help to the inside. Borland wasn't nearly deep enough to give that help. And Julius Thomas wide open. Nobody to the inside of Craig Dahl to help cover him.
There looked to be a decent number of 49er defenders with their hands up looking at each other here a couple of times in this first half.
Well, that's the telltale sign of busted coverage.
So this is the final preseason game of the experiment, the 33-yard point, which is kicked through by Prater. And Peyton Manning has put on a pretty good show through 2 drives, 12 of 14 and a touchdown.
Ted, here's the Julius Thomas touchdown, and hard to lay blame on anybody. Here's Chris Borland, the rookie, here, and you can see, I mean, this is a busted coverage. There's nobody on this half of the field. He's going to pick this crosser up who's already covered, and then really puts Craig Dahl in a tough spot as he's playing outside leverage. You see Borland fly up, try to get the crosser. Dahl's playing outside leverage on Julius Thomas, which means he's got help to the inside. You saw him lift his hands up. There is no help there. What happened? Somebody busted.
And so there's the Denver drive, and Manning has been Manning.
Completed his last 7 balls.
Yeah. And Denver has 10 on the board here as Ewald kicks off Ellington. His second run back. Alley.
Oh.
Broke one. Sidestep to second and gets out across the 30. Well, one Denver cover man there had a clean shot on
Iheanacho,
Duke Iheanacho at San Jose State.
That was wicked. What a cut from Bruce Ellington.
Yes. Ellington with the whip. You know, many of us get a chance to add something onto our house or to build a summer cabin. Timmy may have done that. You know, sometimes if you're lucky enough, you get to build a house. Look what this guy built today. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to see Niners fans filling this place up.
For, you know, we were talking about it for a preseason game. Even the last couple of years at Candlestick, you get used to seeing half full for a preseason game. We're about 90% today, 95?
Yeah, it's good. And, I mean, just making sure that we can get the operations right and getting fans in, traffic, getting the light rail system to work right. You know, it's a good fit.
Jed, it's amazing how fast time goes by. It seems like yesterday we were doing a preseason game in Candlestick. You came in, sat in the booth with us, talked about breaking ground on the new stadium, all the amenities, all the red carpet opportunities, and it's here, man, and so fast. How about just commending all the folks who built it and all of you guys who really planned for it?
Well, it was a great public-private partnership. There's a lot of effort, teamwork that went into this, and it's just so cool to see Levi Stadium up and running and, you know, let the fans really enjoy, I think, the best outdoor venue that's in the world.
And I've been to every stadium in pro football, and I think Ted has too. And a lot of them look good, and a lot of them you could say maybe on the outside may look as good as this place, which it looks fantastic. But when you get inside and you get into those restaurants and you get into the concourses and the food and the beverage, and I'm calling them 1 million TV monitors around the stadium. I'm just going to say 1 million. There's none better. There's nothing better in pro football.
Well, thank you. Again, it doesn't happen without teamwork. And, again, we know it's not going to be perfect the first couple games. We want to make sure we get the kinks worked out. And we'll get there. We definitely want to make sure fans have questions, complaints. Let us know so we can start working on it and make sure that we can get to the absolute perfect experience, you know, getting there during the game and afterwards.
Defense.
Walt Coleman, the referee today, points out Blaine Gabbert is in now in this series for the 49ers. That was a third down throw to Kasim Osgood. And here's the contact, which has been called heavily the first couple of weeks of preseason.
Boy, that looked more like illegal contact to me in terms of that ball was still being held. As that's exactly what it was. As Tony Carter, outmatched size-wise, had to put his hands all over Osgood, well beyond the 5-yard Chuck zone.
We're watching Gabbert on his first series here. And that ball high to Ellington.
That ball's got to get down. He's had that all training camp. He's looked terrific in practice for the most part. Last week he was sailing footballs. Certainly in the Baltimore game he was sailing footballs. And he tripped coming out from under center, it looked like right there. Probably threw his timing off. But that ball location's got to be down on the number, down near the belt buckle.
Well, if anybody can get him there, I'm sure Jim can get him there.
Absolutely. Got to work that scar tissue out. You used to have a quarterback like that, and they had to work the scar tissue out.
We did. You know, just give it a little bit of time, and there's a reason why he was a 7th pick overall, and we'll get him there. We'll get him there.
Another flag down after the run by Alfonso Smith, and now a little jostle afterwards. While they sort this out, Jed, what was the first thing you checked out when you walked in the stadium this morning? What's the first thing you wanted to see?
The traffic. I went up top to the green roof and wanted to make sure that I could see everything, make sure that things are flowing well.
Number 93, defense.
All right, Terrence Knight got. All right, that's not Terrence Knight. Excuse me, it's Quintero Smith got called for that. All right.
You know what I checked out? I turned on the device and checked out the Wi-Fi. Strong.
Very strong.
Strong.
And you know, we were adjusting a little bit this week. I don't think we really understood how many people were on it Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So when you saw some tinkering, I think fans got a little scared. We need to know that we can't tinker with it probably after like Tuesday, Wednesday of the week.
Right.
But we're just keep trying to make it better and better. And we again, definitely want all the feedback that you can possibly give us so we can make the best experience for you.
Alfonso Smith gets a carry here after the first down. Nice run by the new 49er.
He's been pretty good in practice.
Smith.
Yeah.
And brings a special team value. Good block by Carter Bukowski. Watch the left tackle get the big push-out block on Smith. Like Al Netter in there had a nice block as well. Or no, excuse me, that's Adam Snyder. So the left side, Adam Snyder and Carter Bukowski both were able to get good isolation blocks. It gave a nice hole for Smith.
So that's playing. Those two are playing now in the spots of Staley and Upati. Will Tukuafu is a blocking back. Jed, I know you haven't had a chance to talk to players since they got here, but they were dressing in the locker room today for the first time. And I'm just, over the last week or so, what have you sensed since they came back from Baltimore about their enthusiasm of playing this game?
Well, I mean, I think especially some of the guys that have been here for a while, they know the effort that's gone into building Levi Stadium. And, being able to see our training facility here and what we have all state-of-the-art in the locker room and training area in the stadium, I think guys are really, really excited.
Jed, have you checked out the vantage points throughout this stadium? Because I keep hearing, and my neighbors are in the upper deck, and I hear people that are in the upper deck. And the same theme keeps coming across, that there's not a bad seat in the house. No matter if you're up there high or if you're up on the top, there's not a bad seat in the house in terms of the vantage point.
And that's really what we tried to do, and especially where you guys are here on the suite tower side, putting the majority of suites here, taking that mezzanine level out, even in the upper deck, you bring the fans lower and closer to the bowl. And we only have a third of our seats in the upper deck compared to half at Candlestick.
Right.
And it's a much, much better experience for folks. Good big Will there.
Tukuafu, he caught the third down pass, but got dropped short. So Jim Harbaugh gave him another shot. Said, go get it, big guy.
I like it.
Good surge by the offensive line, too, up in front of him that gives old just shy of 300 Tukuafu. So those linebackers flying over the top. You're not going to stop that freight train once he gets going.
No.
Not for a yard.
But it's just amazing to see the depth that we have on this team right now.
It's the best roster I've seen here in a long, long time.
It's really good.
There's Gabbard misfiring. So it's interesting. Jewel Hampton, who had a rough time in pass protection in the Baltimore game, stood in there nicely to protect for Gabbard. Pass was misfired to Ellington.
You watch Gabbard, and he just looks a little bit hurried. And you're right, that is a good job by Jewel Hampton. Never really set his feet there as Mitch Unrein was coming up inside. Kind of senses it at the last second. And the ball just out in front of Bruce Ellington. But it just seems like he's pushing a little bit too much. And we've talked about it. It's confidence. And it's just going out and playing like you're in 6th grade recess. Just go play football.
And that's what our guys have been working on with him. Obviously he didn't have the best experience in Jacksonville. And it is very, very similar to Alex. You're an early draft pick on a team that's, not performing up to their capabilities. You don't have all the pieces around you. And you have to start undoing some of the things that he did and get him to a place where he just has confidence and just goes out there and has fun playing the game. And again, like if anybody's going to get him there, it's Jim, it's Giro, it's Jeep. Those guys, they know how to do it.
Now, and to his defense, a much better supporting cast here with this team than he ever had in Jacksonville. How many offenses has he learned since he's been in pro football? Too many.
That one should have been picked after it went off Hampton's hands. That was not held by Omar Bolden.
Any of those throws, you've got to get them down over the middle of the field, especially when defenses are sitting in zone. Lucky this wasn't picked. Tips and overthrows over the middle of the field are death usually when you're sitting in zone coverage. As I said before, that ball's got to get down on the numbers or near the belt buckle. That if your guy drops it, your receiver, nobody else is going to have an opportunity to get it.
So another field goal try. This will be 44. Phil Dawson going to the other end of the stadium. Missed from 55 earlier.
That's twice. Same thing.
That's twice.
Slicing him out to the right.
All right, so that one will bug Phil Dawson because he was so strong from 50 in last year.
You know what it's going to do, though? It's going to make him camp out here in the stadium. He probably won't leave here between now and the Bears game.
That's right.
All right, there's your score on this opening day of football at Levi Stadium. Jed York is joining us. And Jed, we've been talking that on each side of the suite tower are those open entryways. Most of the fans access the stadium through those two entrances. But I said, we've gotten accustomed to the arcade at Pac Bell Park where fans stand out in right field and watch the game. It looks to me like this is going to be the equivalent.
Yeah, it's going to be a great area. And, I mean, a lot of our standing room folks will be there, but I think you're going to see a lot of folks in the seats. Just a fun area. You got a beer garden type feel. Great views of the stadium, great views of the board, and I think you're going to see those packed day in and day out.
The beauty, and every fan who's here today has to love the fact they can move. When you go out to the concourses, you can walk.
Well, I mean, just here, the outer concourse is 20 feet. Candlestick's widest point was 19 feet. And then you got 70 feet on the inner concourse. It's just a little bit more spacious here.
Brock Osweiler, the backup for the Broncos, second year backing up Manning. And he has taken over here. C.J. Anderson is the running back. What foods have you tested?
Full start. Number 79.
Had the burger.
Offense.
They're doing a barbecued jackfruit, so little vegetarian barbecue, which was actually really good. The garlic fries are off the charts.
I know, I can smell them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I felt bad. I was like, I got to grab some gum.
Dan Gordon somewhere is smiling. He's very happy.
I'm sure.
Here's a nice play, bottled up C.J. Anderson.
I am telling you, Quentin Dial has got such a bright future ahead of him. He hasn't played a lot of football. Came in here last year, 5th-round pick with a toe injury, and for as big as he is, this dude gets in the backfield and just throws offensive linemen to the side. I mean, not only does he take the inside charge there and defeat his offensive lineman, the tackle, but watch him take out the lead blocker, Jacob Tammy, who's trying to come back and lead the play, and then he makes the tackle. That's like a triple threat. Beat the guy in front of you, take out the lead block, and make the tackle.
And then you got Tank up there, too. Tank is
right there, bang.
That's Carradine. Osweiler did get rid of it. That's a nice job by the quarterback. He was going down.
That was really close to being a sack. It was his knee down as he was unloading it. That's what Tank Carradine can do, though, Jed. You know that from watching him. Here he is here. The ability to surge up the middle of the field. Talked about inside pressure. Look at those hands. Look at him swipe the hands down and then finish on the quarterback. That knee was really close to being down, the left knee of Brock Osweiler. But what you love about, boy, I'd go back and look at that. What you love about Carradine is he can get to a guy's edge, but more importantly, he can finish and finish on the quarterback.
And those guys, I mean, they obviously have a lot of talent. They're starting to learn the system and understand what we do. And, you know, that's just another position for us. We've got a ton of just depth on that D-line. That's a fun battle to watch and just great to see.
So can you focus on football now? Can you do that today?
A little bit. A little bit.
Jed, congratulations on this wonderful day.
Thank you
the
very
first
much.
of many. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Privilege and an honor.
Enjoy
as
the
always.
new digs, guys.
You bet.
We were just, as Jed York was leaving, I just mentioned, and we forgot to talk, Tim, about the video boards, the two giant scoreboards here, the video boards that just showed, as would be expected, in honor of Robin Williams during this last time out. But this, if anything hits you across the face as a new era for 49er fans, it's come to a football game to actually be able to see video with fabulous sound, great quality.
Awesome. Really is. And as good as it looks, and it looks great, I wish Gabbert could look about 10% that good. And he just has not.
And so this, as that ball picked, no, hits the ground. But yes, that is it's an obvious question coming into the game. The first series did not do much to boost Gabbert's confidence.
Well, he's 3 for 7 in this game. Has not thrown accurate balls. He's had some guys open. And look, in a perfect world, you hope he never has to play. You hope it's Colin Kaepernick for the next 80 games or more. But conventional wisdom and history will tell you you're going to have to count on your backup quarterback typically at some point during the season for a couple of games to
come in and not have a big drop-off.
Now the 49ers really put a different looking formation. They spread the field, had Will Tukuafu out widest to the right, and Jack Del Rio looked at that over the Denver coordinator and said, oh, hold on a second. Hang on.
I'm going to have to razz Jack when I talk to him later that you couldn't handle the fullback, the 290-pound defensive lineman / fullback split out wide. You had to call a timeout for that?
So I'm not sure if there's a, let's hear what Walt says.
Denver is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass.
Okay, so my mistake, it wasn't about it. It was, yeah, they're going to challenge.
Jack, I take it back.
Me too.
Great Northern California guy, too, by the way.
Yes.
Jack Del Rio from Hayward. Here it is here. That ball gets tipped at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, it hit the ground. Looked like David Bruton had his left hand out, and the ball goes down, and it hits the ground right there before he can secure it.
Yep. David
That'll
Burton.
be an incomplete pass.
Yeah. David Bruton, a good special teams guy.
I'll tell you where Denver is thin, is at linebacker.
There you go. There's the clear.
They're losing Wesley Woodyard. That's obvious incomplete. Wesley Woodyard, who was second in tackles last year for the Denver Broncos defense. And then most importantly, and he left in free agency, is Danny Trevathan, who led him by a mile in tackles last year. He just fractured his hip last week, and he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, so they'll get him back probably by the time the 49ers play in the regular season in Denver. But they have to start the year. You're right. They have to start the season finding a guy.
And
they're giving Brandon Marshall the first shot at it.
And it really makes you think, you know, that old saying.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Incomplete pass. Second down. Denver will be charged with their first team timeout.
It really makes you think if you're John Fox and John Elway, who certainly went out hard in free agency to try to build up this defense, that it came true once again. Offense wins games, defense wins championships.
Well, and we've also referenced that he's on the field right now. We should talk about Denver. Not only did they bring all these veterans in as free agents, their #1 pick, and it was the pick after Jimmy Ward is on the field right now, 29 Bradley Roby.
Right, Ohio State corner. Yep.
And that's, again, Champ Bailey out, so they went to help the secondary, and it was all defense.
Corners. Yeah, Champ Bailey, and remember Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie was out there for these guys last year.
Yeah, he's going to beat New York Giants. So, once again, the backfield empty for Gabbert. And Ellington got hammered there, and that's incomplete. Omar Bolden on the first hit for Denver.
Boy, that ball had some heat on it. Again, get the ball location down. That one was right at the face mask.
All right, once again, during our preseason games here on the 49ers preseason network at KPIX Football, to tweet questions in for Tim. See all the devices you can use up there in those party decks. The throw will be short of a first. Short gain, so not a productive series for the 49ers. Derek Carrier on that catch. And so the 49ers did move the ball and achieve some first downs during the 2 series that Kaepernick played. They have not done much. One personal foul penalty helped the first drive with Gabbert. Andy lead a punt. And Jordan Norwood, who has been one of these surprises of the Denver camp. Guy was out of football last year. And this is how they think he can make this team as a return man. And that's going to help. He has been such a surprise that the Broncos are looking for a little boost in the return game. If this guy can provide it, they think there's a shot at 27-year-old out of Penn State who was out of football last year. He might make this team.
Yeah, he's bounced around on some practice squads. A little bit active at times, mostly on practice squads. I believe Cleveland was one of those teams. I believe spent some time with Tampa Bay. And that's a big spot to try to really replace Trindon Holiday. Trindon Holiday was pretty good in terms of what he did as a return guy. Had a kick return touchdown last year for Denver, the AFC champions, as well as a punt return touchdown for Denver last year.
All right, so Osweiler back to work for the Broncos. Antoine Bethea has not returned in the secondary since his injury. C.J. Anderson gets stood up eventually by Will Hoyt. So you see Craig Dahl continuing on, second year with the 49ers. Who's going to play in Bethea's spot? Jimmy Ward's now playing not as a slot man. Jimmy Ward's playing here in the base. this series. Dante Johnson is playing one corner. He'll be at the top of your picture here. This guy's impressed. Rookie corner out of North Carolina State.
It's a good job by Osweiler recognizing that inside linebacker pressure up inside. And he's so darn tall. You know, he started his career at Gonzaga as a basketball player. And then ended up finishing at Arizona State. But he's every bit of 6'7", so he can see over those guys and sees Will Hoyt and Nick Moody coming up inside, knows where the blitz beater is, right to the middle of the field, and unloads it to get himself to a 3rd and short.
There's Jarrell Robinson, who was a teammate of Osweiler's in college, made that catch to try to run for the first down here. And C.J. Anderson does a nice move, and he got by Will Hoyt, who had a shot in the logo to make the stop.
Yeah, Michael Wilhoit, as you said, had a shot right in the hole at the line of scrimmage to get C.J. Anderson down and force a punt, and couldn't do it.
So Denver keeps the ball as we get to the 2-minute warning. And the first half of the Broncos, the only game's points, 10-0. Ted Robinson, Tim Ryan, Dennis O'Donnell. We're back at Levi Stadium. 2 minutes to go in the first half of this first football game here. Words I think that a lot of fans are finding out, Tim, about Levi Stadium that were not said at Candlestick. It's hot.
Yeah, the sun is going to smash you on the east side over there, certainly early in the game.
We started this game with something you just don't see often in preseason games, a fairly full stadium. C.J. Anderson gets another carry here. C.J. Anderson in his second year is making a bit more of a mark, climbing up the Broncos depth chart at running back.
Well, listen, I mean, you talked about Monty Ball earlier, and Ronnie Hillman and C.J. Anderson certainly part of the equation. Trying to replace Noshawn Marino is going to be a tall order. I mean, well over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns rushing, and had 60 receptions.
Nice inside give, and Anderson takes it all the way down near the 35. Jimmy Ward and then Craig Dahl on the finish.
There's just too much room to run up inside. Tank Carradine gets widened out, and boy, that is a wicked good cut. That is a really good cut. Good vision from C.J. Anderson right there, and no linebacker to the backside. Too fast. I believe it was Michael Wilhoit. Too fast over the top, trying to get to the front side of the play, and gave up that easy cutback lane.
Michael Wilhoit's wind up playing just about every snap of this first half. Chris Borland started in Patrick Willis's spot. He's been replaced now by Nick Moody. And Osweiler on the cross hits his man down inside the 15. That's Jacob Tannen.
I think the theme here, whether Peyton was in the game or Brock Osweiler were in the game, if you're going to sit in those shell coverages, and I'd like to remind everybody there's no game planning going on whatsoever for the 49ers, but you're going to sit in these soft shells, you better get pressure. Otherwise, everything's going to break down. Quarterback can just sit back there and go through his reads, wait for a guy to flash open, as Osweiler does there, looks right, looks left, and then comes back. And because it took, it was a long developing play and there was no pressure, he's able to slide it in between 3 defenders playing zone defense.
So the Broncos took a timeout. 39 seconds in the half. See, Denver still has 1 remaining. Broncos have about doubled the yardage of the 49ers in this first half. Osweiler's throw there is behind Norwood.
See, that's what happens. You get quick pressure, and Wilhoit came unblocked. That was a good call from Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, to get into some of these inside blitzes coming right up inside here. Osweiler just got to unload it, and the receiver is not ready for it, and the pass is inaccurate.
All right, mimicking the way they played the red zone series with Manning. Empty backfield. Broncos with 2 left, 3 right. And Osweiler. Oh, that one nearly picked by Wilhoit. Then the flag comes in. So
Corey Lemonnier is going to be kicking himself when he watches the tape, because you get
prior to the pass, holding, number 57, offense. 10-yard penalty, half the distance to the goal. First down.
That'd be defense, right?
Yeah, Walt misspoke there. It's on Wilhoit.
So it would have been all for naught anyway if you're Lemonnier, but he was right here wrapping the corner and just has Osweiler right there and just can't get him. And you saw Wilhoit right out there grabbing the receiver as he was trying to make his break.
They called during the first week of preseason, they called
after the penalty,
contact and holding defensive fouls about 5 times the rate of the last couple of regular seasons.
Yeah, point of emphasis.
Yes.
And you know what they'll
point
do.
Point of overemphasis.
Yeah, they'll go back to New York. They'll watch all of them and
San Francisco,
see if guys are getting it right or not.
Timeout.
I think the way they're running the point of emphasis here in the preseason is if you have any inclination at all that you think it may be a foul, throw the flag.
When in doubt, which is the way they ruled on quarterbacks last year. When in doubt during the regular season. Throw the flag. All right, 49ers took a defensive timeout here. I'd say, Tim, one difference we've seen when Manning was in for the Broncos and Kaepernick, you see Manning's numbers, he was terrific. Kaepernick moved the 49ers. Since the second units have come in, now the game is tilted Denver's way.
Denver's got a lot more bodies on their roster, which means less reps in practice, less reps in drills in practice. And I thought it was something that was glaring last week against Baltimore, same type of thing. Our guys just look tired. I mean, training camp's been physical, it's been rough, it's been aggressive. Practices have been long, and there's no question that we're limited on bodies versus Denver. They go 4 deep in a lot of their positions.
They really is jarring about how many receivers they have. I guess that the team that scores 600 points, you shouldn't be surprised. And there's going to be more. Tammy is down to the goal line, and he's going to be ruled just short, inches short. Now you're inside 2 minutes, so obviously.
Take your time, Denver. Yeah. That time's clicking off the clock. When you have a blitz like that, you got to have a replaced defender. There was nobody there for Tammy.
And now, no question, as the final seconds of the half tick off, C.J. Anderson takes it in for the Broncos score. But what Denver has done, and this is an interesting development for them because they have been wanting to see more of Brock Osweiler. Obviously, he doesn't play. But they spent a second-round pick on this guy. They want to know if he is a future quarterback for them. Well, they want to see him play like this in preseason.
Absolutely, and I believe, maybe not this year, but there's some pressure behind him in their 7th rounder from last year, Zach Dysert from Miami of Ohio. So they've definitely got the evaluation tools heavily on Brock Osweiler here today and through the preseason.
So the PAT coming from Prater. I wonder what he feels like kicking at zero. You can get awfully hooked on that blasting the ball mile high.
Probably like you feel when you're hitting a golf ball up in Lake Tahoe. How's it feel, Ted?
Yeah, awesome.
See?
Awesome.
Well, you just answered your question.
So Osweiler engineers a touchdown drive. He is 5 out of 7 passing. So we've had actually 39 passes called between the two teams in this first half. The 49ers not able to finish the drive when Kaepernick was in the game. Phil Dawson has had 2 field goal tries that he has missed. Denver has finished 2 drives. One with Manning, one with Osweiler.
And remember, the one drive ended with Colin Kaepernick taking a shot down the field to Brandon Lloyd.
Right. All right, a kickoff here to end the first half, and there you see the possessions. The first 2 were with Kaepernick.
I'm not worried about anything here today because, believe me, the 49ers are a great football team, and when it's real, they will be great. But those 2 missed field goals got to bother you a little bit. Phil Dawson, year 16, as good as he is, that will be stuck in his craw here until he can get out and start punching some through, because those weren't even close. Both of his kick opportunities, he just pushed way out to the right.
And you think about Devin Wiley Actually, both Wiley and Ellington are deep for the 49ers, and they're both up between the 5 and the 10. There they are flanked. And Prater just hammers one over their head, so we'll get one snap from scrimmage. I was going to say, with Dawson, where kicking is gone in the NFL, Tim, and we've seen this a lot because the 49ers, between Joe Nedney and David Akers' brilliant year in 11, Dawson's brilliant year last year, and spoiled by ridiculous kicking. The league last year, 50 and in. The NFL success rate of field goals from 50 yards and in was 89%.
Yeah, it's nuts. These guys have become athletes for sure. And it's not just the percentage on those short ones. How about the percentage and the opportunities?
When
for
did we
the
ever
long
say
ones?
50 was going to be short?
Exactly.
Right? They've made it look short. That's the.
So they're more accurate and their legs are stronger as they get out.
Let's take you back to the second half of the Broncos and 49ers at the lovely new Levi Stadium.
You'd love to see him getting a lot of reps on defense, but you'd prefer to see more reps on offense with the ball control. Defense got to be better on third down here in the second half, getting off the field and getting the ball back to the offense.
Colton Schmidt kicking off here for the 49ers, and that's Latimer of Denver thinking and then declining. And so the Broncos will start from the 20.
All right, Borland's back in the game. Will Hoyt is out, so it'll be Borland and Nick Moody lining up in the middle of the defense. And I'm excited to see Aaron Lynch play. This is his first real action. There he is. That's Borland there. Aaron Lynch, number 59, 5th-round pick. You see his back of his jersey right there. Tell you what, you talk about looking the part. He's got every bit of that. Long, angular, big. Let's see if he can produce coming off the edge.
Aaron Lynch out of South Florida.
I know you love saying this. Where did he start his career?
Yeah. Lemonnier coming up the outside off the right. But Osweiler starts with a quick throw to the perimeter. 5-yard gain to Gregory Wilson.
You know, Denver typically will do that too. Start games, come out at the start of the second half, and they'll just start throwing the quick hitters out on the perimeter. And it gets your defensive line tired. I mean, it's the greatest equalizer.
And Tim, I would think that was something the 49ers would like to have with Gabbert. It's just a couple of quick completions just to get both rhythm and confidence. That's a deeper slant that's over Wilson's hands. So there's Osweiler's numbers. And again, with Manning, Osweiler doesn't figure to have to play, but the Broncos in this preseason seem to be a little more determined to find out, or at least come to a better conclusion. Is he a longer-term guy? '49ers spread that defensive front very wide. It's almost a wide 9 technique underneath throw. That'll be enough for a first down. Just maneuvering far enough to get it is another impressive player. It's Juwan Thompson. And here's something that Tim Ryan has not said much in your Fox NFL career. A player from Duke.
Yeah, the player from Duke just comes out of the backfield. And smartly, as a Duke player is, he's in the right spot, and Nick Moody isn't. Nick Moody just busted coverage. He ran with the other receiver with Chris Borland, and that left the running back wide open on the check down.
Quick throw to Wilson, Darryl Morris, a good wrap up. There's Nick Moody, second-year 49er.
And that's the thing now with your young players and your backup players, you can't tolerate the mental errors. Physical errors happen in pro football. I don't care how good you are, how physical you are, you're going to get picked up and thrown on your back sometimes. That's just the way it is. But in terms of the mental mistakes, coaches do not have a lot of tolerance for those.
So Thompson gets the carry, goes outside. There's a nice play racing up by Jimmy Ward. Now that's the #1 pick. And run support.
Oh, he'll definitely get in the mix in the run game. Good job front side. Everybody's stacking it up, making the running back go sideways. And then Jimmy Ward just coming up and cleaning it up in the backfield.
So Denver left with a long third. 3-receiver bunch.
Let's focus right here on Tank Carradine, see him get in the backfield.
Denver held him out. That's what they've done. Denver's given Both quarterbacks time today, and that's enough for Osweiler to find Wilson.
And don't be troubled. I mean, Tank is going to be a big part of this defense. But this long down and distance, you've got to be able to get some inside pressure. Sitting back in the soft zones, looked like they had a zone man combination there. You don't get any pressure on these quarterbacks, and they're going to eventually find an open receiver. Too easy.
Now running play, and that's going to be stopped again. Good run support. That's Dante Johnson who makes that stop on Brennan Clay.
And that's what you love about big corners. And Dante Johnson, the 5th rounder out of NC State, Ted, is all of that. At every bit of 6'2", maybe a little bit more. And they're really good because you can sit them out there and you can play those zones with them where they can play from a trail position and use that length. But just as importantly, they're counted on in the run game to be tacklers. Dante Johnson's been doing that all camp.
Nice smother there on the running play. Dante Johnson is a draft pick that's going to factor in. He's going to factor into this team.
You bet.
A bigger corner. So there's Lynch.
That's good agility there by Aaron Lynch, who's put on 30 pounds here at training camp. He's about 277 pounds. Played it well, got his body turned a little bit too far inside, but was able to recover and get back on the running back and get a nice tackle.
And the 49ers get some pressure. Well, they tried a little blitz there with Moody. The 49ers did mix up the coverage there. They dropped one of the defensive linemen, brought Nick Moody in, and Osweiler's throw is incomplete. Our AT&T Uverse defensive stop.
Running back got just enough on Moody that kept Osweiler clean. Wilson, the receiver, I think he heard footsteps that time. He spun his head to run before the ball got there. Thinking the DBs were going to come up and rock him.
On that play, saw Lawrence Okoye on the field. Wasn't sure we would see him play today. Lawrence got hurt in the Baltimore game, but thankfully we found out afterwards not nearly as severe as it looked at the time. Punt catch by Parrish Cox, and the 49ers now see if they can get some offense going.
Welcome back, everybody, to Levi Stadium. We have taken to the stands now. Jed York promises the smartest stadium in the NFL. I'm alongside Chris Trapani, and he has decided to buy seats there. The app, Chris, how does it work?
Well, you kind of go in here into the 49er app and you find the food section. There's a lot of different options, so it can initially be a little confusing to try to find your way. And
I want to buy French fries, so do it for me.
We're going to do that. So we're in the section now where you can get chicken tenders, fries. You want garlic fries or regular fries?
I don't have 5 minutes. I have 30 seconds.
Okay,
buy some French fries.
Here we go, French fries. One added. We added that. Let's go over here. We added that. It looks like it's somebody's texting me at the same time. So
okay, fantastic.
I added 3 orders of fries, by the way, since we've been at it.
You need your own show. Okay, you can get your own fries, order via app. That's the point, guys.
I like that. Dennis, with your definition of fast food, I like that. It's great. I'm glad to hear that the app is working. We have an injury, unfortunately, after a good first down throw from Gabbert to Ellington for the 49ers. Lamin Barrow, draft pick out of LSU.
Been having a great camp, too, by the way. 5th round pick. Checking out his right leg.
All right, Tim, first of all, this is what the 49ers need to see from Gabbert right away, this kind of throw.
Well, you said it in the first half. Come out and just throw some short ones and get his confidence going. Here, he knows right where he's going. Comes out from under center. His footwork's good. You can see his eyes are on Ellington the whole time. And then look at that ball location. Right on the chest, right on the numbers. And Ellington never had to break stride. And then this is where Lamin Barrow gets hurt right there as he's laying out to get Ellington down. His own teammate, friendly fire, looked like he got him in the right leg.
So another quick 3-step drop and a strike to Ellington. So the 49ers are getting a chance and really seeing Bruce Ellington multiple situations. Gabbert now has completed 2 in a row.
And I like that because we talk about the 49ers no game planning going into the preseason for the most part into these games. But maybe if you're Greg Roman, you get in at halftime and you game plan a little bit like, look, they're playing a lot of off coverage. Let's not do what we do and trying to drive it down the field with some of these seam routes. Let's just get Blaine Gabbert some confidence with these underneath throws.
So there was the deeper drop and a swing out to Alphonso Smith, but Denver had that one rooted out. That's Steven Johnson on the hit.
I'm expecting a Pat Summerall from you right there with nothing doing. He went nowhere.
Yeah, you see, that was 1 on 2. So 3rd down. And let's see how the 49ers play this. 3rd down and 3. Jewel Hampton, the running back. Derek Carrier slot right. Quentin Patton wide to the right. And try to run it. Hampton gets the 1st down. Well, Hampton made a nice move. And he kind of carried Corey Nelson there the last yard to yard and a half. Enough to get the 1st down.
And he's lucky that Quintarius Smith falls down, the defensive player for the Denver Broncos, who was right in the backfield, thinking he had a tackle for loss on Jewel Hampton, and he fell down. And Hampton hit that a lot harder than he was hitting it in Baltimore last week and was able to slide up inside for a much-needed 1st down.
Ellington motioning in tight right. Hampton running angle right, and Omar Bolden stood him up. Hampton got some yardage and ran into a quick end at the hands of Omar Bolden.
Not great blocking here at the point of attack as Seymour pulls around and ends up missing his guy. But I'll tell you, somebody who had a good block there was this guy right here, the 4th round pick, Bruce Ellington, going and digging out a safety. I mean, he's got him sealed off to the edge, and you know the 49er coaches. Wide receivers, if you can block, you got money in the bank.
Hussein Osgood on the catch. That's a 1st down for the 49ers.
It's going to be a challenge keeping him on the roster. When you think about
Osgood,
how good he is, so many impact plays on special teams for 12 years. And the guy's only got 45 regular season career catches, but he's so good on special teams, but they're loaded at the wide receiver position.
All right, here's our first Ask Tim question, brought to you by Geico. What does Blaine Gabbert need to work on?
Number 1, footwork coming out of center. Didn't do a lot of it at Missouri, and then ball location. It's real simple.
Flag down. It may bring back that run, will bring back that run by Hampton.
Tell you what, someone lit a fire under Jewel Hampton because he's running much better here in this game than he did against Baltimore.
Offense, 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
I think the biggest thing for the fans is you've got to be patient with Blaine Gabbert. He's learned so many offenses in pro football with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Didn't have a great supporting cast. You couple with that with the fact that all he did was shotgun at Missouri. It's a whole different routine now when you're getting in there under center and your footwork's got to be timed up with the receivers.
Timmy, that's a great point. A question I was going to bring up when you mentioned that. 1st and 20. And Gabbert trying to hit Patton. Instead, it's picked by Denver. And a big run back inside the 35-yard line by Tony Carter. So Gabbert had completed 4 straight.
Well, here he gets a little greedy, Ted, and he had other guys in one-on-one coverage, and he's trying to slam it into triple coverage. Tony Carter, pretty crafty if you look at the left side of your screen, and he just undercuts that route. Probably a little bit late from Blaine Gabbert if you think about it. And that ball's out a little bit late. Tony Carter's got his eyes on him. Tony's pretty savvy. And since the ball comes out about a half a second to a second late, he's able to get underneath it and undercut the route for an interception. Tell you, it's going to pose a difficult question on, because we all know I would think, in speculation, they just want to keep 2 quarterbacks. How good do they feel about Blaine Gabbert after these first game and a half in terms of his performance? You may have to keep 3.
I was going to ask you about the center snaps, and there's Greg Roman, who understands this is the coaching staff that inherited Alex Smith, who had been battle scarred himself and turned him into a productive quarterback.
Absolutely.
That's what the very model that is the Blaine Gabbert situation. Osweiler going for the home run, and they get it. So Denver shows right away how they can come back and strike, and that is their second-round draft pick. Cody Latimer beating Dante Johnson, the 49er draft pick, for the touchdown.
One-on-one out on the edge. Aaron Lynch gets pretty good pressure right here, but Osweiler steps up and just drops this in the bucket. And it looked like Dante Johnson quit on the play. I mean, he's in good position right there. He turns to locate the ball. I don't know if the sun was in his eyes, but he certainly lost his vision point on that football and just stopped. And Latimer didn't. That's easy. Very, very good throw from Osweiler.
It really was. So Denver, the typical play after a turn, just taking one shot at the end zone, and it pays off. Extra point here is kicked by Mitch Ewald, and Denver now up 24-0 midway through the third. We'll see how the 49ers play this. Does Josh Johnson get his first shot this afternoon? So this beautiful newest stadium in the NFL opening today, our Bud Light trivia question: what is the oldest stadium in the NFL?
All right, I'm going to take a shot.
And you see, technically you played in it, but I don't think people count Soldier Field anymore.
No, that's
because they redid it.
Yeah,
but it's still, the core is still Soldier Field.
It is, although it looks totally foreign to what it used to look like. You got to say San Diego or Oakland now, right?
I think it's one of those two. I'm going to say I'm going to guess it's Oakland. I think Oakland might be a year ahead of San Diego, but there's the kick by Prater. The kick muffed by Quentin Patton, which derails any hope of a good return. He's crossing the 10.
All right, here comes Josh Johnson.
Yep, it is Josh Johnson's turn when we come back out of a timeout to Levi's. All right, there was a penalty on the kick against Denver, so the Broncos re-kick, which gives Quentin Patton a much better shot here. And he's going to take advantage. And he gets it out close to the 40-yard line. And the other shock about that is there is no flag. In the preseason, you get accustomed to seeing flags on about 90% of kick plays, but not there. Good return, good start for the 49ers with Josh Johnson coming out to quarterback. And let's answer our Bud Light trivia question. We know that the worst stadiums in the league have been in California. Let's see which one is the oldest.
Oh, Lambeau Field.
No, I don't know how you count that one either.
The grand opening in '02, right? And they redid it all. But the field's still there. The coils are still under the grass.
So
the question should have been the oldest field.
Yeah, that's the
oldest field in pro football.
Yeah, that's not a right answer. So we'll just say it's Oakland. Oakland's a year older than San Diego.
Well, I'm looking forward to Josh Johnson. You know, he's been in this league for quite a while. I've covered him when he was with Tampa Bay. Of course, played at USD when Jim Harbaugh was there as the head coach, threw 115 touchdowns for Harbs down there. And don't give that guy a crack in terms of his opportunity to make the roster, because he will explode it into a crevice or a canyon, because you see what he did last week. And he missed some things. I went back and watched the tape. But he's a very good runner when he gets scrambled, and he's every bit of 6'3". He's pretty darn confident. And what I like about him is his skill sets. They're not Colin Kaepernick's, but in terms of the style, they match up a little bit better in terms of his style of play versus Gabbert's style of play in comparison to Colin Kaepernick.
Kaepernick played 2 drives today for the 49ers. He had most of the first team out there. Bolden played. Crabtree was on for a couple of snaps. Brandon Lloyd played.
I cannot wait to watch him against Dallas when he's out there and playing 4 quarters. Expectations, Ted, in terms of the upgrades at the wide receiver position this year. Colin Kaepernick's numbers in terms of the touchdowns, I think, are going straight through the roof. And watch what that does to the running game, and it opens it up and just start connecting the dots.
We'll talk about that after this first play with Josh Johnson handing off to Jewel Hampton. So, Tim, we talk a lot about what the 49ers may do, what offense may change this year with them. And when you just look at the plays they call, this is what fans look at. How many times they run, how many times they pass. Last year, The one on the right is last year. The fewest pass plays in the league. In 2012, the second fewest pass plays in the league. Do you think that changes?
I do. I wouldn't expect 45 throws a game, but I think it's going to be opponent specific. I mean, there's going to be games when you look at the opponent and the matchups and you say our matchup is in the box. We're pounding the ball 34, 35 times. And then other opponents, it's going to be outside the box in the passing game.
It's the second time, and it's fairly close same part of the field. Now Denver trying to rip the ball out of Josh Johnson's hands as he was going down. Did they do so? Johnson stumbled, and that completely blew up the play.
Well, that ball definitely came out before he was down. Did he get back on it and recover it? No, he didn't.
Denver has it.
Well, it starts as a disaster there as he gets stepped on coming out from center. And then right here, Mitch Unrein just pulls that ball out and just rips at it. And I do not think any point of Josh was down. Of course, it's a turnover, called a turnover, so it'll be automatic review up in the box to see if, in fact, see, he's pointing at the ground like he was down before the ball came out. It was close, but it didn't look like it. And that's one thing now. That'll stick in coaches' craw big time. Here's a better look at it. Hard to see there from that angle, but it didn't look like anything was down on the ground before Unrein ripped at it.
And Al Netter.
Play will be reviewed.
Yeah, automatic. Al Netter, the lineman for the 49ers, was looked like he was getting able to fall on that ball and looked like he got pushed off it.
But that's an
Denver
area.
recovers.
That's an area, Ted, and finishing my thought. The 49ers manage risk and protect the ball better than anybody in pro football. Not out, not out. Couldn't see if his left knee or left elbow was down there. Netter should have just fell on it. Should have just covered it up. Put the body on the grenade. He tried to reach out for it. Okay, there's the left hand is down. That's not considered down. Yeah, I think that's going to be a fumble.
I think so too, Tim.
Not clear visual evidence to.
Exactly. Nothing to.
Just fall on it.
Nothing to overturn. And that awkward spot that Netter found himself in, he could not secure the ball. Well, if you think about what we've just seen here, and here's what the 49ers in the last 3 years since Jim Harbaugh has been here, that is their turnover differential. Only New England is better in the NFL. Seattle is third, by the way, and then fourth is a mile away. Those three teams are miles above the rest.
Now that's the calling card
exactly.
to winning in pro football, and on top of that, that's the turnover differential, which certainly takes into effect and factors in the defense and their ability to get the takeaways. But since this coaching staff has been here with Jim Harbaugh for the last 3 seasons, they've had the fewest turnovers in pro football with 44 and only 21 interceptions. That's the lowest total in the league last 3 years.
Half of that equation exactly that has been the caution. We've mentioned this in the first half. The 49ers play with.
On the field stands.
All right, so it'll be a takeaway for the Denver Broncos. So 2 of them here in this third quarter, and the frustration continues for the 49er offense. Is almost 7 quarters now. You have to score a touchdown.
And turnovers are hard to overcome anyway, but when you get them on your own side of the field and your opponent's in plus territory and close to scoring position, that's when it's especially difficult.
Second straight takeaway for Denver that starts in this manner, and Zach Dysert, now their number 3 quarterback, is in. And this is Jawan Thompson on the carry. So I want to go back because we were talking about this young man. Jawan Thompson's undrafted, coming out of Duke. Okay, Duke. Football. 2 words we don't connect often, although this David Cutcliffe, who was Peyton Manning's, by the way, the original quarterback coach. David Cutcliffe has done that. I had to look up. There haven't been very many Duke football players that have ever played in the NFL.
My buddy, my old colleague Brian Baldinger's listening right now. He's not real happy with you, Ted.
He's one of the few names I recognized. For an Ask fans, here's my trivia question: the greatest football player to ever come out of Duke. I didn't know this until I looked it up. There's a nice carry, or a nice stretch defense by the 49ers.
Well, you know what makes that work, and just to talk some football here, is Corey Lemonnier. What they count on with their outside linebackers is these guys setting the edge. Get upfield and force it all back inside. And Lemonnier, look at him jack the tight end, push him into the backfield, set the edge, force the cutback, and you've got 4 red jerseys, 4 49ers there to make the tackle. That's clinic defense right there.
So now the defense hoping to get a third down stop. And the tackle is going to make that play. That's Kenneth Acker, one of the draft picks. Cornerback out of SMU, and he stops the receiver there short of, that's Jarrell Robinson, stops him short of the first down.
And he was clutching at his knee just as Acker was taking him down, his right knee. Acker had a great week of practice this week. Oh, it looked like the way he came down funny on that right leg.
One position the 49ers are deep at. A lot of defensive backs, a lot of good ones.
Welcome back, everybody. One of the unique aspects of Levi Stadium is Yahoo Sports Lounge. So, if you are looking to know what happened to your fantasy football team today, they will have statistics of every game of every player going on throughout the 49er game. Now, if you know what your team did, come on out here. You can back to watching 49er football. And the greatest thing about the Yahoo Sports Lounge, take a look right up there. Go ahead and pan the camera. You can see two big celebrities as they're broadcasting a football game.
Tim's, you're going to bring
one to know one, Dennis.
You're going to bring the garlic fries up, right, Dennis?
You got it. I'm on my way.
Thank you. Yeah, this television booth, this will be where the network broadcasts come from every week, and it is located right in the midst of the Yahoo Lounge. It's a great setting. I mean, the details of this stadium have been done magnificently as Denver went for it on fourth down there, and Juwan Thompson converted.
And C.J. Spillman could have made that tackle coming with a blitz off the edge, but he couldn't finish. That's perfect by Purcell there at the nose tackle position. That's the best play I've seen him make in a game here in the preseason. And if you're going to one-on-one a nose tackle in a 3-4 defense, that guy's got to be able to disengage and make a play. There it is right in the middle. And that's textbook. And typically, when you play that 3-4 defense, they're going to double that nose if he's any good, and he's going to force a double team, and then your linebacker can scrape downhill and make a tackle at the line of scrimmage. You want to single up a big, heavy nose tackle like that and run an inside run, he's got to make that kind of play.
Nicer throws a nice out route there, and that extra effort by Benny Fowler is going to get Denver a first down. That play was short of the first down, but Fowler turned it up.
They have been, and I've talked to Peyton Manning about Zach Dysert, they have been really impressed with this young quarterback and his development coming in as a late pick last year, I believe the 7th round. I remember covering him at the Senior Bowl when he was there a couple of years ago, and he was the best quarterback there.
You said Miami of Ohio.
I believe so, yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Big Ben.
Yep. Cradle of Coaches used to be known as the great school that produced memorable football coaches. There's a nice play by Acker, diving in front of Gregory Wilson.
We have not seen a lot of man coverage in this game. That was man coverage, and a perfect example of length of a big corner. You're going to see Acker come from the right of your screen. He's playing in a trail position from behind, but because he's got long arms and he's got length, he can lay out in front of Wilson, the receiver, and get that ball batted down on the goal line. Perfect. He's lining up and playing man coverage again.
Yeah, Denver back in the red zone. Thompson gets the carry. And the 49ers bottle that up. So you know the most famous football player to ever come out of Duke. I loved watching this guy play when I was a kid. I had no idea he played at Duke. Sonny Jurgensen.
I feel like a cigar all of a sudden. Sonny Jurgensen went to Duke.
You believe that?
Wow.
Now, if you know Sonny Jurgensen, that's not an association you make right away.
No, definitely not.
Third down. And there's a tackle not made.
No, he just
Juwan Thompson just ran over C.J. Spillman and takes that down to the goal line.
Well, I'm glad Spillman got up because he just got trucked. It was a good job by Dysert throwing the blitz beater. Here comes the pressure. Moody off the inside, off the edge. Tell you what, Spillman went down to check the shoe size right there, trying to make a business decision. Should have went down a little bit lower. Ended up helmet to helmet and getting run over by the 230-pound back.
So Denver on the goal line. And that play goes for a touchdown.
That's
there
offensive
comes a
pass
late flag
interference.
on
Yeah,
Ben
that's-
Fowler. I was looking for that flag, and it was a little late coming.
I'm surprised the side judge didn't call it and
Yes.
was right in front of him. The umpire
Exactly.
ended up calling it on the back end.
Pass interference, number 16, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
We were all looking that very same way, Tim. The side judge right there does not throw the flag.
Now you see Acker out there, and you can see the push off right there. I mean, he just shedded him, and Acker followed. He's using his hands trying to get the call, and the umpire got it right.
So backs up the Broncos just outside the 10. Still first and goal. And the formation we've seen a lot in these red zones for them today. Empty. This time it's 3 receivers left. And that's picked off the carom, and Acker could run this a long way. Good recovery by Denver. But Kenneth Acker with the interception on the carom. Now there is a flag thrown on the opposite side of the field, the far side, away from the play. Don't know if the flag was thrown prior to the pass.
I think they're going to end up getting some offsides here, it looks like.
Offside, number 59, defense.
Oh, that's
5-yard
brutal.
penalty, still first down.
Brutal. I said this last week. Penalties. There's Lynch right there, who's just got his head in the neutral zone as the ball is snapped. Penalties hurt anywhere on the field, but when you're backed up and the opponent's in scoring position, they're an absolute killer. When they happen on a turnover, they're twice as bad, especially in this situation. And that's just a mental error. Jimmy Tomsula's letting them know.
Jim Tomsula was so highly regarded and really as was proven when he actually was the head coach of this team for one game. At the end of the 2010 season, the players respect him a lot. And Jim Tomsula is going to make sure that he takes a rookie and gets the college out of him.
That's right.
And that's what you just saw with Lynch.
He's a great coach and a better person, for sure.
Inside Brennan Clay on the carry. So the 49ers thought they had their first big defensive takeaway of the day. That's erased. Now back to red zone defense. You see Chase Thomas, second year out of Stanford, trying to make this team.
You know what I'd love to see is practice linking up to the game. And I said it earlier with Kenneth Acker. He had a couple of interceptions during Wednesday's practice that were fantastic. And I think coming in, we all knew he had ball skills, but he went from defense to offense in about 2 steps. And he got paid off right here in the game.
That is a
penalty, and it goes for naught. But it was nice to see that transition.
All right, well, there wasn't any offensive rebirth for the 49ers in the third quarter. Denver extends its lead. It's that kind of afternoon right now, given this game. Fans are wandering around, enjoying the concourse to see in the stadium. Here's our another Ask Tim, brought to you by Geico. What were you thinking the first time you walked into Levi's?
I'm glad you asked that, because I remember vividly it was a ribbon cutting day. We were both here. Remember when we opened the stadium and we cut the ribbon, and the first feeling I had coming into the main concourse and looking around, and all the workers were here, but the first feeling I had was of nostalgia. Like, I've been here before. This stadium, even though it's all brand new, it's got a traditional feel to it, which I thought was really cool. That's what struck me right away.
Inside give. 49ers bottle that run up shy of the goal line. So it'll be third down. Borland's still on the field here in the fourth quarter. I can't fathom, and I know they showed some of the tape here on the pregame show. We're about 27 months from the date the shovel first went in the ground here.
Crazy.
27 months that this was a parking lot.
And
now you have this here.
And huge props to all the workers.
Yes.
How about the players and everybody at the facility right here that watched this thing go up bolt by bolt?
So third down. And Dysert's, well, another flag down
get a pick
there.
route.
That was a bad pick. It set up Gregory Wilson. That was Cameron Mora, former Cal tight end.
And Daryl
Pass
Morris.
interference, number 86, offense, 10-yard penalty, still third down.
Mora tried to employ the old screen and roll. It doesn't work in this sport.
Not when you're one yard past the line of scrimmage. The old pick and roll. Yeah, you see right there, you couldn't see it on the replay, but you could see the result, and that was Daryl Morris right here on the ground as he tries to converge out with Wilson, the receiver. Cameron Mora just runs into him, screens him off, picks him, he falls on the ground.
So it is third down now, back from the 12-yard line for Denver.
This is where you'd love to see the pass rush heated up.
Dysert will wisely go down as Borland was zeroing in on him just inside the 10, and Denver will bring out the field goal team. You know, two people, Tim, Jed York referenced teamwork when he was with us a couple of times, and two people I think really deserve some props for a day like this. Everybody had to get, and this entire stadium is sold out for the season. Everybody had to get their tickets.
Right.
And Jamie Brandt is the vice president of ticketing for the 49ers, and heads are great, and we can't name everybody clearly. Did a magnificent job of getting everybody's tickets to them in place.
Yeah, kudos to those guys.
And flags before the kick here by Ewald.
And I think their job's been especially difficult. You said it with all the newness, but also it seems like an event going on here all the time.
Yeah, there have been a lot of opening events.
12 men on defense, 5-yard penalty.
That'll push the ball down.
Well,
inside.
and that's another mental error. And Kenneth Acker went out there late.
Yep.
He thought he was supposed to be out there and ran out on the field, and they already had 11 out there.
So that pushes the ball down inside the 5, but Denver will not change their plan. They'll still kick here with Mitch Ewald.
You get a sense these guys are wore out. I don't know what it is. The entire team, for the most part, mentally and physically. You don't want to, and Coach Harbaugh absolutely knows what he's doing in coaching in the preseason, but think of giving these guys a little carrot, letting them rest a little bit here in the next couple of weeks, getting ready for the opener.
A coup for Levi Stadium, the first outdoor NHL game in Northern California, Feb 21, right here at Levi Stadium. And the Sharks-Kings rivalry renewed. Tickets will not go on sale until late September, but call 415-GO49ers. You can learn about a pre-sale that's going on now. David Reed is going to return this kick from Denver. Matt Prater has not been kicking field goals, but he is doing handling the kickoffs. Reed's going to have a chance to run this one from about 2 deep. He'll be dragged down shy of the 15 with the ball squirting free. And is that another turnover? No whistle on the field. It's ruled on the field to be a turnover and a recovery by Denver. So this second half is, from the 49er viewpoint, this is deteriorating into just a very unpleasant half of football now. 3, unless this gets changed by a review, 3 turnovers.
And Capri Bibbs comes over and initially converges on it. And then it looked like Benny Fowler is the one that pops it out with his right hand.
Yep, before he was down.
Before David Reed was down.
So again, it's an automatic review on a turnover, but that appears to stand, and I believe will.
I mean, it's speculation. I don't know if this team is dog tired. I don't know if they're wore out, but I know when I see a lot of mental errors and you see these turnovers and just the details, there's something's missing.
Well, it's interesting, Tim, because it was an unusual trip to Baltimore, and we talked about this during the game there. Teams don't travel like that in the preseason, let alone stay for a week-long trip. But the 49ers did not practice Tuesday this week, did not practice Thursday, and did not practice yesterday. So that's what makes that pass is a forward pass. It is incomplete. Isaiah Burse intended on that. But I think bigger picture here is that what we've seen through 2 games is that the second and third teams matching up against second and thirds on the other 2 teams are not faring very well.
Right. That has been troubling. Now, a lot of these guys they won't even have a uniform come 3 weeks from now. They won't make the team. Or they'll end up being practice squad. So, but you'd love to see your depth and your back end players play better, no doubt. Especially when you're comparing them to the opponent.
Well, and the other point is Dysart hands it off inside, and it's Capri Bibbs, local player up there. He's from Colorado. Just finished a real good career at Colorado State, getting a chance in the Broncos camp. But Jed mentioned it when he was with us. Trent Baalke has said it openly a couple of times. He feels this is the deepest roster he's compiled since he's been with the 49ers.
And I couldn't agree with him more. I mean, I've covered this team on television since 2002. Dennis Erickson, I believe, was the coach back then, and grew up here in the Bay Area, know this team, followed them growing up. Hard to match anything they had in the 80s or the early 90s, but no question in many, many years, this is the best roster top to bottom.
Dysart got aggressive there. That middle was wide open for him, and then as red shirts closed, I thought he was going to go into a slide. He dove, got it down to the 1.
Well, how many quarterbacks have you heard say, look, when they're converging on you and you're running, don't slide, go forward?
Yes, Steve Young.
Absolutely. He ends up taking a shot from DJ Campbell and Shane Scope.
And on 4th down, the 49ers make a defensive play. Well, there's a nice play for Chase Thomas. He played for Jim Harbaugh and Vic Fangio.
Good awareness.
Stanford.
Yeah, really good awareness. Smart play. Excuse the pun for the Stanford player, but did not take any bait on a bootleg. Went right down the line of scrimmage and got attacked.
Who's a nerd? Chase Thomas delivers a round table perfect combo.
And he is not going to bite on this weak side zone read. Dysart's going to stick it in the belly. He's supposed to read that defensive end. He doesn't. He hands it off, and Chase Thomas makes the best play of the game for the defensive football team and preventing a touchdown. Good stuff.
Well, the second half has gone along, and the 49ers are, Tim, you talked about this in Baltimore, they're really falling behind just having the ball. Offense not being able to do a lot. Jewel Hampton underneath. And he's stopped in his tracks after a very short game. So as a result, what we saw in Baltimore is it's not going to happen for the full game here, but it is happening in the second half. There were the time of possessions getting tilted.
Right, and heavily in favor of the Denver Broncos here. The silver lining to all this is it's going to help them evaluate the backup quarterback spot, because Josh Johnson, get ready. He's getting ready to throw a boatload of passes, I would think.
Second down, and there's a run for Hampton that goes straight ahead. Let me ask you this question, Tim, about the backup quarterback situation. Last night, for example, New Orleans did this. They started Luke McCown as their quarterback to get him play with the number 1s.
Yeah, I think a part of that was Drew Brees is dealing with an oblique strain. I think that's a big part of that. The quarterback's not completely healthy down there. And they got a lot of trust in Luke McCown. Yeah. That guy's been a good player since he's been in pro football as a backup. I think he and Josh may have been together in Tampa.
Yeah, they were, in fact. Third down. Johnson standing in now. Moving. Flag is down. Opposite side of the field. Johnson is down. He took a pretty good pop inside the 5 by Jarrell Harris.
I think he underestimated the speed of Jarrell Harris right there.
I agree. But there was a flag thrown again. This is the opposite side of the field from the play. So would you, and have you seen this before, would you favor playing a backup quarterback with 1s is my question in a preseason game?
Holding, number 42, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
If you're trying to build somebody's confidence?
No, I wouldn't, because I want to see as much of Colin Kaepernick, and you're not going to see a lot of it anyway, with his new receivers, with his new weapons. I think that's more important than trying to figure out how the backup's going to do with the 1s. And there's the hold right there.
After the penalty, first and 10 at the 13-yard line.
That's interesting, because that flag came from all the way across the field. That came from this side of the field.
So that jersey getting tugged. This is what Josh can do right here.
Gains a couple and then goes down in front of linebacker L.J. Fort.
I think if you feel 100% about your quarterback and his weapons, not that they don't feel that way with Colin here, but Drew Brees has been throwing to those guys for so many years with Jimmy Graham and Colston and those receivers down there. Plus he's a little bit injured. Colin needs the real work and a real game with the new pieces. Get that timing down.
Joel Hampton can't hold it.
And that ball should have been caught from Jewel Hampton, but the location's got to be better from Josh Johnson. We've seen these quarterbacks struggle with these underneath throws. What was the legend here, Coach Walsh? I mean, this ball, all these underneath throws need to be right on the money, out in front of the running back, so he does never have to break stride. Not only does he catch it in perfect stride, doesn't have to contort his body, but he's off to the races and running and picking up extra yards.
So 3rd down and 7. 49ers trying to take advantage. A penalty kept this possession alive. That one's thrown, but a nice close, and then a flag is going to give the 49ers another 1st down. The flag on the hit. That was Devin Wiley that made the catch. And he took us
right here.
Holding, number 62, offense.
All right, so Tim.
10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
A couple of offensive linemen to talk about here for a moment. Marcus Martin is playing at center right now for the 49ers, draft pick out of USC, and 62 Seymour, the right guard. You liked the way he played in Baltimore.
I liked him quite a bit, and he does get the holding call right here. But in terms of the backups, I thought Adam Snyder played well in the game in Baltimore. But when you're comparing and who's going to be in there at right guard if Alex Boone doesn't show up, they've certainly tried out Joe Looney quite a bit, and Snyder could fill that role with his versatility. Ryan Seymour last week in Baltimore, I thought played terrific out at right tackle, and now he's getting some work in there at right guard. He's got a chance to make this team.
Another flag down. And Johnson's pass off the hands. And incomplete. That's intended for Cleveland. Asante Cleveland, backup tight end, but the flag was...
Offside, number 72. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Watch Seymour right here, and that's what I like about him, and that's what he did in the whole Baltimore game. I mean, his guy ends up getting a hit on the quarterback late, falling back inside, but he will just stone you. Ryan Seymour, right guard, look at him, he's just going to get his little pass set, and then once he gets his hands on you and he keeps him inside, good placement, it's pretty much a wrap. He's done that well throughout training camp.
A lot of flags in this 4th quarter of the game. David Reed with the catch. David Reed, a veteran, was an extra receiver on the Baltimore Super Bowl team 2 years ago. Played in Indianapolis last year.
And he's going to have to make some great plays here in the next 3 weeks if he's going to get on this roster with the numbers game. And that's one point I think we need to make is they're loaded at a couple positions, receiver being one of them. There's some good players that aren't going to make this team, but right now, next week, the week after, you're auditioning for 31 other teams if you want to keep your career going.
And Johnson in trouble, could not escape. He did hold the ball as he was sandwiched. Anunike. And so that'll bring up 4th down, and now it looks like the 49ers will have to punt.
68, Anunike coming off the right end. The initial pressure was up inside.
There was a front hit there that stood up Johnson, and Anunike finished from the back. Colton Schmidt with the punt. Not much of a run back there. That's Isaiah Burse out of Fresno State. Not a bunch of passes from Derek Carter there on the return for Denver as we're under 8 minutes to play.
Well, everybody, if your team is trailing, 27-0, you want to escape the action for just a moment. Frank Panover, and this is what Candlestick Park did not have. An open area that you can get to and order a cold beverage. Keep your eye on the football game via the big screen. Now the bad news, a draft beer is $11, a bottle of water, $5.75. You got to take the good with the bad, but you do have a view of the field. Frank, pan back over on the field so you can still be standing at the bar and see the field. So this, again, is something that Candlestick Park did not have. This is also the area, Ted, where they would put more seating when the Super Bowl comes here in 2016.
Yeah, Dennis, that's right. The two open ends of the suite tower that Dennis is standing at, that's where the extra seating will be placed.
What can they get it to? 75,000?
Yeah,
was that the number?
I believe it's over 70 for sure. That's what they had to guarantee the NFL to be able to have the Super Bowl come here. As Denver's Zach Dysert is playing here with Capri Bibbs on the ball carry. And of course, what we're seeing now, it's a preseason game, so given the one-sided nature of it, fans can come and go at varied times, unlike the regular season games and postseason games. But the other person that deserves a ton of credit for what's going on here is Jim Mercurio, the Vice President of Security and Operations for the 49ers, who has spearheaded all of the work to get traffic patterns that are still going to be worked out. Screen here, and boy, there's a lot of open space Benny Fowler's able to find to get a first down. That play looked like the 49ers would have that one hemmed in.
Well, the Denver offense, and I think it's a testament to Dysert, the way they're lining this thing up, and Adam Gase is calling good plays. The offensive coordinator is, they're just stacking those wide receivers and reading the coverage and off coverage, and they're just throwing those quick little screens out to the edge. There's just not enough defenders in close proximity to get the receiver down before he gets the first down.
Nice cutback run there, and that's another first down gain by Bibbs. Ran that all the way out across the 40.
And Aaron Lynch, who's really getting his first game action, he's got to be aware here and squeeze down on the run. You're not rushing the passer every down, getting up the field. I mean, he went so far up the field, the backside H-back didn't even block him, and you see that huge crease that opens up inside and makes it very, very difficult on your linebacker and safety to fill that huge hole. And you see right there, Quentin Dials telling him, look, it's all right, man.
Every 49er players shaken up. DJ Campbell being looked at. Now the 49ers got 7 first-half tackles from Michael Wilhoit, our ASUS power performer.
One thing Wilhoit can do is he can go get people in space with his high-octane speed. That was, I thought, the best play he made was getting that quick pressure on Brock Osweiler, and it's still a work in progress for him. I mean, Michael Wilhoit has not played a lot of linebacker, if you think about it. Was a safety at Washburn College, never played linebacker until he got into the United Football League, right, the UFL. He's a very, very good special team player. He's still quite raw, though, in terms of the consistent linebacker play.
One of those stories. He was out of football, working privately back in Kansas, selling, and got a shot to come here, practice squad at first. He's worked his way into a much better spot. All right, Ask Tim, presented by Geico. What do you think the defense needs to work on?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think get their starters back in the mix, and it's going to look totally different.
That's the key to the defense, right?
Absolutely. Big picture, I think, be better on first down, especially versus the run, which is uncommon. They were 28th in the league last year in run defense on first down. When you compare that to being number 3 overall in the league in complete run defense, that's an area where they've got to get better. And then I think when you think of their pass rushers, and I think they're going to be better in the secondary, when you look at Tremaine Brock out there in a full-time role and Chris Culliver, Jimmy Ward on the slot, I think as a group there's going to be some growing pains, but they're going to be better, which tells me the pass rush is going to have more opportunity, right? It all works together. 2 years in a row this team has had 38 sacks. You'd like that number to get up 48, 49, approaching 50, and they've got the horses to be able to do it. And when you get those sacks and those quarterback hits, you're going to create more turnovers. You're going to create more splash plays. You're going to create more opportunities to score points both for your defense and for your offense.
Well, that'll be a challenge because, and you referenced the sack. I mean, Carolina ended up with 60 last year, I believe.
They were way up there.
Team,
St. Louis is typically above 50.
But if you play a certain number of games without Aldon Smith, whatever number that is, that's going to make that bar to reach even more challenging.
And think about no Navarro Bowman out there either, and what a great blitzer he is when he's coming up inside. And all that works together. You know what teams do, right? You have great outside linebackers, teams are going to get their protection fanning out, getting out to those outside guys. That opens up the inside. And Vic Fangio does a great job of sending Patrick and Navarro Bowman up in those A-gaps to get after the quarterback versus that fan protection.
There was the Chase Thomas making another play, tracking down Dysert from behind. And that'll force a 4th down punt from Denver. Parrish Cox is back to receive the punt. Colquitt forcing the fair catch. So with just under 4 to go, 49ers will get another drive start here, but backed up to their 13-yard line.
Here comes BT McLeod, going to play some quarterback.
Yeah. So folks getting out to test the traffic leaving the ballpark or the stadium here. And we're talking about Jim Mercurio and the amazing work everybody has gone into without a dress rehearsal, by the way, we should say, to do this. Did you notice the other night? Hard to hear about this coming out of San Francisco, but nobody talked much about it. But the disaster that it was trying to get the Candlestick for the Paul McCartney concert.
No.
It was the first event that the 49ers did not participate in.
Oh,
Jim Mercurio ran all the events with their staff at Candlestick. The 49ers are out now. And from all legitimate, truthful reports, it was an utter nightmare. It happens, folks. Traffic, shockingly. Well, Damian Washington.
He just got blasted.
Yes.
I love the fact that he put his head down and just went for it.
So the 2nd and 1 here. McLeod, Bethel Thompson, the 4th quarterback for the 49ers. A flag down as he hits Asante Cleveland with that pass.
Illegal formation on the offense. Wide receiver covered up, number 45. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
This is where you see the back ends of rosters are seeing an amazing number of flags here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and the receiver to the tight end side has got to be off the ball as the strong side receiver. And it's the backside, that X receiver, typically the weak receiver, who's up on the line of scrimmage, making it 7 on the line. Tell you what, Ryan Seymour at right guard, he is just locking people out. You don't get by him. And he just did there, going to the inside.
Another inaccurate throw and a tip and an interception by Denver. Throw was behind Cleveland. Popped up in the air, and Steven Johnson with the catch. Everybody's, see what Bethel Thompson's doing here? He's looking up at the big board. This is what you've seen the players doing.
Yeah, bad throw again, and I don't think he was hurried. Maybe he was a little bit late. Bethel Thompson McLeod, that ball should have come out earlier, and we've seen that all day now. Problems with ball location and throwing those underneath routes to the middle of the field. That should be pitch and catch. It's not that hard.
That's what the players have been looking at. We saw this in the open practices here. The video boards here are so just outstanding, and such a massive change from Candlestick that we've noticed during the open practices. Players during practice go up there where they watch the board to see the replays of what just happened.
How about when they're watching it in real time? You think of Drew Brees down at the Superdome when he's throwing.
Absolutely.
He'll look up at that big board and see what the coverage is down the field before he unloads one of those deep bombs.
So coming down towards 3 minutes to play here at the first day at Levi's. The football hasn't been what the folks would have liked.
I told you, I said it in the open. I was anticipating watching the fans play today.
Yes. And it's been more a day for that, to enjoy the atmosphere in the stadium. Cameron Moore with a catch there inside the 20.
So I'll tell you another thing. I live 16 miles from here, and I'll promise you every day it's 10 degrees hotter at my house. You do get a breeze coming off the bay here, the south end of the bay. There's no doubt.
But I'll tell you this, I think fans, and we're all finding out things, this weather is so glorious that on a day like this, it's pretty warm on the sunny side of the stadium. That's going to be a touchdown there. Cameron Moore has an easy turn up the field and up the near sideline for the Denver score.
Busted coverage again. I mean, you see everybody converging to the middle of the field, and there's nobody out there for the tight end, Cameron Mora. hard to know what the coverage was, but Lynch ran right by him and went to rush the passer, and there was nobody out on the flat to cover up the tight end.
The difference in pass offense has been pretty stark, especially in the second half, where you're just seeing open receivers for Denver and easier plays like that, and the 49ers are just having trouble completing in the second half, having trouble completing passes.
Well, the bottom line is this: other than the starters, in particular on offense, when Colin and Frank Gore were out there with Brandon Lloyd and Joe Staley and Vernon Davis and those guys, those have been really the only bright spots in these first 2 preseason games. For the most part, everything else has been a disaster. A lot of mental errors, the turnovers. I mean, there's a lot. The only place to go is up. And I promise you, these coaches will get it figured out, and they'll relay that message to the players, and they'll in turn get it figured out and get it fixed.
Next Sunday, right here, 1 o'clock against San Diego. The preseason, this is that odd year where the 49ers are playing teams in preseason and regular season. And they've got 2 of them playing Denver and San Diego. Chargers will be here twice. Chargers will come back here at the end of the regular season. The 49ers will play Week 7 at Denver on Sunday night. Final preseason game this year, which normally is San Diego. This year, the 4th one is at Houston. That'll be our game once again here on the 49ers preseason television network, Thursday the 28th.
Well, next week will be a good measuring stick against the San Diego Chargers, because San Diego went up to Seattle yesterday and got run over by the Seahawks. Absolutely run over by their starters. So it'll be a good test for the 49ers if and how much the ones play, what they're able to do against that defense.
Quentin Patton running that kick back to the 18-yard line. So here comes Bethel Thompson again. 4 turnovers by the 49ers in the second half. Flag was thrown there on that pass, and that is a welcome sign. Wiley, who got popped earlier, Wiley back on the field. There was a flag.
12 men on the defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Now this 4th quarter is unfolding as an argument for those who think there's too much preseason football. This 4th quarter has not been a lot of fun to watch.
How many times have you heard the commissioner, Roger Goodell, say that the problem with the preseason is it's hard to start the season with a bad product? And for the most part, it's a bad product.
Hampton with the catch. Joel Hampton gets his way out to the 30-yard line. That's enough for a 49er first down. Will also likely get us to the 2-minute warning, although the 49ers will try to hurry a snap off. Bethel Thompson missing on the slant intended for Wiley, and that will get us to the 2-minute warning.
That was not a good route from Wiley.
No, it wasn't. And the 49ers are hoping 2 minutes left. Something good happen for them on offense. This happened earlier this week in Denver.
Oh!
Rocky Top. How about that? Why didn't Manning do this during Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, look at Fleet's feet. He's got it working. I didn't know Peyton had that kind of rhythm. Look at it. Oh, that's hilarious.
How about Welker? That's an interesting Xfinity innovative move. And meanwhile, Bethel Thompson drills one into Wiley, and that'll get a first down out across the 40.
He probably grabbed Devin Wiley on that 2-minute timeout and said, look, you run a slant, you better run that slant full speed. And they came right back to it, a little bit more of a skinny post, but he slammed it right in there, and it was a good route.
Yeah, it's a test after a guy got popped like he did a little earlier. Hampton with a catch, gets out of bounds. Manning, by the way, was 12 of 14 today for 102 and a touchdown. Kaepernick in his play 5 out of 9 for 39.
And Peyton heated it up. His last 7 he completed. I believe he finished with 7 straight completions.
Denver, 3 Denver quarterbacks today are 30 of 38 passing. Total 49ers are 17 of 30.
Not enough pressure and too much zone coverage. Pretty simple. And if you're going to play a lot of zone, and I get it without game planning, you better be able to get some heat on the quarterback and force him to throw the ball early.
Tried that little stop to Washington with a flag on the snap.
Illegal formation on the offense. Number 18 covered up the tight end.
That's
5-yard
twice.
penalty. Still second down.
I think fatigue across the board, Ted. I mean, just the small mental errors, just lining up properly, pre-snap penalties.
Also have some new faces. That penalty's on another new receiver, Lance Lewis, who just joined the team this past week.
That's a good point.
49ers have had to bring bodies in. Lewis and Washington as wide receivers, a running back Winston that we have not seen today. Play stop for no gain. But the end of the story becomes that, again, I think the last couple of years we haven't seen, even late in preseason games, the 49ers last year, remember, they had the quarterback B.J. Daniels.
Right.
And was able to generate something. And the 49ers right now, well, there's an unexpected big play. Kevin Green catching a pass that should have been picked by Denver. And the 49ers get it inside the 10.
Yeah, a bit of luck right there. Boyette definitely should have picked that off, or at least got a pass breakup at the bare minimum. Pops it up in the air, and Kevin Green's right there to be the recipient.
30-second timeout.
John Boyette, former Oregon Duck. And that one unexpectedly hit him right in the hands. And ends up being a big gain to Kevin Green, the biggest offensive play of the day for the 49ers.
Good adjustment by Kevin Green in space, though. With Boyette getting spun around and right in front of him, Kevin Green was able to stay on his route and get around him and be right there with the concentration to get the tip ball.
Ends up being a 48-yard play. And the 49ers taking a timeout with 50 seconds left in the game. So the 49ers with their, well, it's the deepest they've gotten on offense into the Toyota red zone. Trying to see if they can score their first touchdown of the preseason. Not going to happen here. Jewel Hampton trying to run the inside.
Second. Team timeout.
That's a second timeout taken by the 49ers.
30-second timeout.
How much of this tape are they going to watch, Tim?
Oh, they'll watch
every bit of it.
Absolutely.
Okay. In front of the players. Players will watch everything.
You bet. There's 1,000 learning opportunities from watching this tape. I understand in the regular season you have such a bad performance, didn't play well, and we don't see a lot of those from this team in the regular season, and you got a game coming up, you got to get into the game plan, and you got to get your head right. I can understand not watching some of those tapes, but all the teaching opportunities, no, they'll watch every play more than once.
Well, Washington held that ball, and then he took a pretty big step.
Charles Mitchell, that's a great tackle.
San Francisco, 30 seconds.
This is Eldamian Washington. Came off having most recently been with the Cowboys when the 49ers signed him during camp. So now it's going to be third down, 36 seconds, basically 2 plays to try to punch one into the end zone.
Looks like they're bringing the big personnel grouping in here.
Well, it'll be interesting to see who these people are.
Well, we got Tuku Afu out there, I know that.
49ers then last year, Daniel Kilgore became the big body, the extra jumbo guy that came in.
Yep.
He is now the starting center.
Well, remember a few years ago it was Isaac Sapuaga.
Justin Smith actually played it a little bit in the NFC Championship game.
No receivers on the field.
And no touchdown. Jewel Hampton got cut down, so it'll come down to 4th.
If I'm Jewel Hampton, forget cutting to the outside. I'm going to count on Tuku Afu right up in front of me on that lead play and just get on his hip. Follow 48. I think you would have had a better chance than cutting right to those white jerseys out on the edge.
And the 49ers Hampton don't even come close there. And so the 49ers lining up and trying to run the ball in twice, unable to do so. And Denver will And it's just an interesting scene on the field right now, Tim, is that the 49ers, there's no reason today to look like an awfully spirited team. They did at the very beginning of this game. Denver just piled on the field, their whole team. Plowed off the sideline to greet the defense, the end of their defense that just made this goal line stop.
Look, they wanted improvements on defense, and you got to look at your depth when you're the Denver Broncos, especially with some of their injuries, and those guys have to play well. It's hard to get a shutout in pro football, even in the preseason. 34-0, Denver should feel pretty good about themselves.
Now the stadium opened up with it almost full today, even for a preseason game, with a ton of noise greeting the 49ers. When they entered, the first quarter was played about the pace I thought it would be, Tim. The 49ers certainly played it with a little more emphasis. A lot of the frontline guys out there, but from about the start of the second quarter on, the day deteriorated for the 49ers.
And let's be honest, I mean, Colin played well. Frank Gore with a couple limited opportunities played well. I saw Carlos Hyde have a couple of nice runs. Defensively, look, no Justin Smith,